Face came from 𝗤𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝘀𝗶𝚀 where it still don't sleep. Raised by his mom, pops ghost in the street. Concrete cradled him, lullabies and sirens. Pain made him sharper than a shank in Rikers. Crip rags in his closet, but his heartbeat wise. New loss at 10, saw a soul leave eyes. Mama drove buses, hands cracked and bruised. Told him be more
talk about it today, yo. Give me a minute. Send out these invites real quick.
Blood couldn't make us closer by an inch. Face was a warrior, cold but kind. He ain't just survived, he redesigned.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduate. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hated it, couldn't be the fate debated, but it's for me, then I'll never fade it. See that look close, soul over flesh. Keep your circle tight, put the fake to rest. Some burn bridges, some burn the set. Some earn stripes, some place they bet.
Trip came from LA, raised by his queen, no pops, just hunger.
Go ahead, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Share the live. We about to get into it today.
He didn't make it home after dark, and my answer like, that's my son from the start. I gave Trip structure, he gave me fire. Two halves of war, faith and desire. We chased skirts, fought ops, baptized in sin, banged out, loyal to the soul, not just the turf. We ain't find heaven, we dug it from earth.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduated. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hated it, couldn't be the fate debated, but it's more me than I'll never fade it. See that look close, soul over flesh. Keep your circle tight, put the fake to rest. Some burn bridges, some burn the set. Some earn stripes, some place they bet.
I'm too much, raised in the IE flame. Pops a vet with the scars and aim. He taught me to move with a soldier's poise. But my brothers taught me how to hear the noise. My dad gave face, me and Trip that guide. Their moms hugged me like I never left their side. We ain't shared blood, but we shared that pain. Shared the same block, same hood, made chains. From chasing women to ducking raids. From stick-up missions to street parades. We stood 10 toes, built from the mud. Now gladiators crowned in brotherhood love.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduate. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hated it, couldn't be the fate debated, but it's for me, then I'll never fade. See that look close, soul over flesh. Keep your circle tight, put the fake to rest. Some burn bridges, some burn the set. Some earn stripes, some place they bet.
About to get started here in just a minute, y'all. Go ahead and get them likes up. Get them likes up. Share the live. Share the live. We about to talk about today. You know, Carmelo Anthony and Austin. We're gonna talk about it today. I've been kind of avoiding it because I'm the type of person like to wait for all the facts before I jump into something. I gotta know all the facts, all the details. But I want to run some ideas by you guys, so we're gonna talk about it today.
My dad gave face, me and Trip that guy. The moms hugged me like I never left their side. We ain't shared blood, but we shared that pain. Shared the same block, same hood, made change. I'm chasing women to duck and raids. I'm from stick-up missions to street parades. We stood 10 toes, built from the mud. Now gladiators crowned in brotherhood. Congratulations, gladiators, they graduated. I'm glad.
Come on, we about to get started here. Get them likes up. Share the live. We gotta talk about it today.
I ain't never switch, I was raised in the lion's den, standing on truth. I don't follow, I inspire men, loyal to the code. Got the wisdom of 1,000. Every move I make for the fam, that's the fountain. Built from the struggle, integrity in my spine. Character solid, you can read between the lines. Talk what I live, they respect me when I speak. Name, hold weight in the west and the east. Lessons from the block got me sharp like a blade. Made it out the fire, but the flame never fade. Soul made of steel, I don't shake, I don't run.
I'm too much. I'm the moon and the sun.
Everybody know me too much, too much. When you see me,
Hit that like button. Share the live. We about to get started here in just a little bit.
always standing on business. Too much. Everybody know me too much.
Too much.
When you see me on the street,
Too much. Too much. I be on TikTok. Always standing on business.
Legacy on my back, I don't bend, I
Don't fold.
Too much to name, but I never
Do the most.
Principles embedded, they don't come with a
Cost.
I took every L
Like a boss, never lost.
Talk to the youth like a prophet in the street. Every bar is a jewel, every line is elite. Got the aura of a king. Calm, never loud. But when I step in the room, I still move the crowd. Sticking to the code, I don't break, I create. Everything I built from the ground, now it's great. Said I couldn't do it, now I'm living what I said.
I'm too much.
Lead with heart, not just
bread.
everybody know me. Too much.
When you see me on the street, too much, too much. I be on TikTok, always standing on business. Everybody know me. You see me on the street, I be on TikTok, always standing on business. Get them lights up, y'all. Come on.
Mirror never lie, I reflect what's divine. Discipline the fuel, got my purpose in line. They imitate the stance, but the soul ain't matching. I do it for the bloodline,
Never for the caption. Too much, realer than the lives they be living.
I'm the echo of the struggle, still risen. Woke in my thoughts, still humble in my deeds. Planting righteous seeds while the world just feeds. Eyes on the prize, but my mind in the stars. Blueprint in my palms, no facade, no fraud. Speak truth in the world full of fiction and
Fronts, I'm too much, I'm the future they want.
Everybody know me. When you see me on the street,
Too much, too much.
I be on TikTok.
Always standing on business. Yes, and tall for the lineage. Never less, always more. We about to get started, y'all. Some lights up. We got to talk about it. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, man? We got to get into it. They're going to start coming in the room. When they come in the room, we're going to get started. But I got some things, man. You know, first, let me start out by saying this. Prayers go out to both families. Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Prayers go out to the family. Nobody really wins here. Everybody, both families took an L. All we want now is justice. You understand? Both families took an L, man. All we want now is justice. You know, it's very difficult when you have children involved. These are kids. These are kids, and let's keep it a buck. Bullying is a part of growing up. It just is what it is. Bullying is a part of growing up. You can't get away from bullying. I don't know all the facts in this particular case, you know, but I do know this. We have something called due process, and you're innocent until proven guilty. Don't let the media spin these narratives and have you putting, you know, have you not knowing all the facts. You know, it's sad that we have a media that doesn't speak truth. It's sad that we have a media that will spin a narrative because they want to make money off the drama and the hardships of others. Because that's what news is. News is about making money off of your suffering, off of your pain. That's really what it is. So before I get started, prayers go out to both families, and all we want now is justice. Y'all see the topic, when stand your ground meets double standards. When stand your ground meets double standards. We're going to talk about that today. And again, I don't have all the facts, but I'll tell you one thing. I looked at the police report. I took a look at the police report. I know a little bit about what they're saying in the news. Not too much, because I don't watch, y'all know I don't watch television. I hear things, especially coming from the grassroots, and that's what makes me pay attention to it. I don't really watch. I'm not one of those guys that's going to come home and tell you what's going on in the news today, because that's propaganda and witchcraft. Why would I want to talk about propaganda and witchcraft? But I can tell you this. I know the news ain't. I know everybody's spinning the narrative. Besides what everybody may think, I don't think this is racial. I really don't believe this has anything to do with race. I think race comes in after the fact. These are Americans, and this is what happens in America. Sometimes in America, things happen. It could go one way, it can go another way. It starts out, we hope everybody make it home. That's what we hope. Everybody makes it home. But we have disagreements. We have bullies. We have, disagreements. We have fights amongst Americans. And that's what happens. That's what happens. And sometimes it gets real. And unfortunately, if, these things happen to our children, to our kids, to our loved ones, to our family members. So I want everybody to remember that it's not our job to judge right now. It's our job to wait for all the facts to come out. But here's what we're not going to do as foundational Black Americans. We're not going to let this thing play out in the court of public opinion. We're not going to let people lie and spin narratives, and then we find out later on it's far from the truth. We're going to allow due process to take its toll, and we're going to assume right now, because we have a system that says you are innocent until proven guilty. We're not going to dig up all the dirt on the black guy and then make the other guy look like an angel. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to play those games. We're not going to pull up all the dirt and try to make this boy out to be the nefarious one. We're going to keep it fair. Now, I read the police report. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys what you need to do. So there's a lot going on in this police report. There's a lot going on. So some of y'all was on my live Saturday. I didn't do a live yesterday, Saturday. And I hipped y'all to Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a great source where you can plug in documents and sources and have a conversation with it, and then have it spit out a podcast, a 15, 20-minute podcast about what this information says. And that can help. But then there's AI. There's AI. Then there's AI. You can plug documents into AI and you can have a conversation with that document. They can kind of tell you what's going on. You can ask it questions. You can play scenarios out and things like that and try to get as close as you can to what's true. But what we're not going to do is jump to conclusions. We're going to wait for the facts, because based on what we know now, just based on what we know now, it can go either way. It can go either way. It depends on how the lawyers go about it, right? See, I'm from the 80s. I'm from, I'm 40. I'm 44 years old. And, one of the best things my dad ever did was he put me in martial arts at a young age. And it taught me self-control, taught me how to defend myself, taught me confidence, all kinds of things. So any bully I had, I stood up to my bullies and they got, they tried to smash me, but let's just say I smashed them. You know what I'm saying? So, if I have any issue, and it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not judging either way. I understand that the times have changed. Peace Omni, peace Omni. I understand that, things are different. Children are more emotional than they were growing up before. Children are way more emotional. Children are way more emotional. I remember when we used to have our little fights at school or outside our home. I wasn't allowed to run. My dad would send me right back outside and be like, "Hey man, handle your business as a man." The worst thing you can lose, the worst thing you can lose is self-respect. You want to be able to look at yourself in the morning every day and be comfortable with who you are. You don't want to have a complex. You don't want to have a complex. So my dad taught me self-respect. And self-respect is standing on business. I get it. It's probably I don't want to say maybe it's probably more dangerous today than it was back when I was growing up, because at least back when I grew up we still use these. Now it got wild. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I grew up in the hood, so there was things going on outside of that. But at least for the most part, you could still catch one of these. You can still catch them. You can catch that fade, and everything's going to be good in the morning. You catch that fade, get up, shake hands. Everybody knew each other's family, and it is what it is. And some people you just ain't never going to get along with. So it's that part too. But, it's crazy, man. We got to remember that these are just children. Carmelo Anthony's a child. Stnd Metcalf, he's a child. No matter how big he was or not, these are children. And always, it always gets me, I ran track. And I played football. And I played basketball. I was decent at all three. I went to CIF prelims in California running the hurdles. Okay. I raced against brothers. I raced against guys like Kenyon Rambo. If anybody know who that is. If you don't worry about it. We had a high school out here called Long Beach Poly, and then we had John Muir. Raced against all those cats. Them were some fast brothers. And every time I raced against those guys, I may not have came in first, but they increased my time. I'll tell you this, I wasn't coming in last. First, second, third, or fourth at best. Okay? And I know how it is, and I know how it is at these track meets, right? Everybody got their tent, everybody got their squad. And you have to, you're not gonna let the other team come up in your spot. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna let the other team come up in your spot. That's just what it is. You're not gonna do that. But is there any law? I mean, but don't get it twisted too. We hung out at every, our rivals was a school called Eisenhower, and we used to go. Man, I knew everybody over there, so I would go over there and dap everybody up, talk some mess, hang out by their tent, and go back to my tent, right? That's just how it was. Rivals or not, no matter what, we go, And then there were some schools you couldn't do that with. Not to go up in the certain schools' tent because it might be on and popping. It might be on and popping like that. We had it like that too. But again, what we're not going to do is make everything racial and make everything, destructive. We're not going to tear the character of one man down of one kid down and play the game of double standards. Right now, you know, first of all, his bail should have never been $1 million. That was already unfair. Already unfair. They caught the boy. He didn't try to escape. He admitted that he was wrong. Right? He admitted. He showed concern about the other kid because he realized he might have took it, you know, he might have took it too far. It wasn't like they had to chase this brother down and find him hiding out in ditches nowhere. He was right there. He wasn't too far away from what was going on. He wasn't too far away. We can say that. We can argue that. Who brings a knife to a fist fight? Oh wait, he had. Yeah, we can say that. You know, that's not something I would have done. You know, I'm from a different era though. I'm from a different era. But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Even though I'm from a different era, right? Even in that era, we had brothers carrying those things to school, to track meets in their backpack. Yes, because when you gotta walk home, you might have to walk through many different hoods before you make it to the house. So yeah, we can say that. We can say that. Yeah, that's, you know, why do you have to, you know, why did we can make that the argument all you want. Yeah, razors in the mouths. I mean, come on, man. Don't if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Let's keep it a buck. So we can say, that probably wasn't a good look. But there are people that do that. What I'm saying is this generation is more emotional than we were. This generation of children is way more emotional. And I'm always asking myself, where the heck were the adults? I've been to track meets. I've been to invitationals. I've been to all that, man. And, you know, don't get me wrong, there's kids everywhere, but there was always adults. Where the hell were the adults? How did they let it get this far? Where were the adults? I don't care. People say, oh, these are 16, 17. No, these are children. These are children. There's no passage of, there's no rights that says that tells men when they're men anymore. There's no more sacred passages where men realize at this age I'm a man. No, there's no camaraderie of brotherhood that tells men when they become men. These were children. These were children. And where were the adults? Where were the coaches at? Where were the coaches? It should have never got this far. It should never got this far. But we got to understand. Again, we have a system that has the ideology is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Keyword proven. Keyword facts. Facts must come to the forefront before we start allowing the media and the internet to make this out to be something that it shouldn't be, which is racial. These were two American boys, and let's keep it above. Let's be honest with ourselves. Bullying is a part of life. We don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in the world in our head. We live in the real world. The real world. Okay? The real world is listen, we can complain all we want about the way things are, but complaining doesn't change anything. We have to raise our children for what they're going to face in the real world, not for the ideology that we have and that we want the world to be. That's what I'm trying to say. So like I said, I read the police report. I read the police report and I plugged it into Notebook LM and I plugged it into AI because I wanted to get more thorough. I wanted to get more thorough with what's going on. I looked up Penal Code 9.31 and 9.32. That's the Penal Code. That's the stand your ground law in Texas. Penal Code 9.31 and 9.32. That is the Penal Code law in Texas for stand your ground. I read the police report. The first thing the brother said was, "Listen, man, this was self-defense. This was self-defense. They put their hands on me, they grabbed me, they pushed me, and I defended myself. I defended myself." He gave him a warning. He said, if you touch me, you gonna find out. And everybody knows what you gonna find out means. Everybody knows what you gonna find out means. Should that have even come into a track meet area? Again, like I said, I'm 80s and 90s is how I grew up. That's my era. 80s and 90s. Early 2000s. And people brought all kinds of things in their backpack. Where the track meets doesn't matter. That's not something I would have done. I can't say I've ever done anything like that to a track meet, but if I'm being honest, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of too much of nothing when I was a kid. I wasn't scared of too much of nothing. I was popular. I knew how to handle myself. I had friends. There was not too many people that was messing with me. You know, I had my crew, and my crew had my back, and I had their back. We wasn't a per se a gang, but I had my trusted people. And we was cool in every hood. We was cool in every spot we went to. So I can't say I lived that life where I had to carry something, But I knew other people who did. And sometimes they had a reason to carry something because they had to go through some dangerous spots. And I was just fortunate enough that people knew me and I was good. Or they knew me or somebody in my family or one of my friends, and we was good. I made a name for myself running track. We was good. Yeah, listen, I don't have a problem with anybody practicing the Second Amendment. I don't have any problem with that. But should that be the answer for everything? If I got a toothache, do I just pull out the tooth? Is that the answer for everything? Just pull the tooth out? No, man. There's levels to this. There's levels to this, right? There you don't meet aggression. You don't show up to everything with a hammer. A hammer won't fix everything. Just like a tool won't fix everything. If you understand what I'm saying, because we got to be TikTok friendly. It doesn't solve everything. It doesn't solve everything. But there's a time and a place. Yeah, the best weapon is the brain. The best weapon. Listen, the best weapon is to not put yourself in situations that's going to cause that. That was the hardest, and I'll be honest, that was the hardest lesson for me growing up. My dad used to warn me all the time. He said, if you see trouble across the street, walk on the other side. And I was a stubborn kid. I'm like, nah, man, I'm I was walking on this street first, so I have a right to keep walking. And if trouble finds me, then whatever happens, happens. But I'm minding my business. But my dad used to always tell me, listen, man, you got to use your brain. Your main job is to make it home. And if you see trouble, you don't walk into trouble. But I learned, my dad also knew I was hard-headed and I was stubborn, and that I was the child that's going to learn the hard way. I got shot early on. I got shot in my early 20s. Okay, I got shot in my early 20s because, and I could be honest with you, I was hard-headed. I was stubborn. Right? I wasn't starting no problems. I'll tell you that. Growing up, I was never starting problems, but I would be the one to finish them. Yes, I would. I'm not going to start nothing with you. I'm going to mind my business, but if you come across my way, then it is what it is. But your best tool to use is your brain. And if you got one, you should use it. You should really take your time and use it. It's not about being macho. It's not about I'm no punk. It's about making it home to your family. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. If I would have learned that earlier, and I knew better. It's learning is tricky, right? Because everybody has a learning curve. Everybody knows what they should do, but they oftentimes do the opposite. But again, as a foundational Black American, what we're not going to do is allow this brother to be railroaded. We're not going to allow Carmelo Anthony to be railroaded because of some double standards. What's up, Kingpin? We're not going to allow our brother to be railroaded because of double standard, and the media wants to make it racial. That brother should not have had $1 million bond. There's no way he should have $1 million bond. Now, thank God he's out. Some news came out. The brother is on house arrest, chilling at the house, as he should be. But $1 million bond, that was insane. Now, that's the racial inequality right there. That's the racial inequality right there. Had it been reversed, there wouldn't have been no $1 million bond. He might not have even made it into the jail cell. You understand? And that's what's difficult and disheartening for the dominant society to see. Because they understand we have cases like Kyle Rittenhouse, Daniel Penny, Zimmerman. We got many stand your ground cases. But when it comes to foundational Black Americans, when it comes to Black Americans, when it comes to melanated people, period, there's always a discrepancy. There's always a double standard. When one community does something, oh, but he was lost. He didn't have a father. He was confused. Oh, we don't want to ruin his life based on this. It was an accident. We just want to slap him on the wrist. And he learned his lesson. But when another community does it, oh, he's a super predator. He's a criminal. He's terrible. He's a thug. He's this. It's always they want to make us out to be the thugs. We're always the thugs, the gangsters, the criminals. They always want to make us out to be this whole thing, when really they're just a kid. They're just a kid. Even me, when I was in high school, look, y'all, you see this little beard right here? I had this in high school. I used to take girls. I was in high school. Look, y'all, you see this little beard right here? I had this in high school. I used to take girls out, and their parents used to ask me for my school ID because they didn't believe me. They thought their daughter was with an older man, and I was a kid. regardless of how I was 6 foot, regardless of how tall I was, and how, you know, older I looked, you know, as growing up, I was still a kid. And that doesn't give you the right to treat me or try me in the court of public opinion like I'm an adult and railroad me. What's up, cousin? Man, come on up here, brother. We trying to have this conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and send the invite for you to pop up in here, man. We talking about Carmelo Anthony. Anybody else you want to come up? Let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. But yeah, man, I mean, we got to remember that these are still kids, man. And both
salutations, brother.
Both salutations, brother. Both families took a loss. It's unfortunate and sad what happened to Austin, and it's unfortunate and sad what's going on with Carmelo. And we have to understand that, you know, until all the facts come out, everything is speculation. But the disheartening part is watching some of these people on TikTok and watching some of these people in the media, how everybody's spinning a narrative. Everybody's spinning and spinning and making it what it is. This has reached national. And one thing I can say I'm proud about Foundational Black Americans. I mean, I think they raised like 400,000. I'm pretty sure. I think they raised about 400,000. I think that brother's going to have a pretty decent sized lawyer team to defend himself, and he may very well get off based on some of these stand your grounds. We're going to go over some of the data. Like I said, I read the police report. I plugged it into AI. I plugged it into Notebook LM. I asked it some questions, and I got some things I want to talk about with the family.
Are they still?
Go ahead.
Are they still making it first degree?
Yeah. As far as I know, nothing's changed. He's just on house arrest right now. He's out of jail.
First degree comes with intent, and if I'm his lawyer, and I said this on another live before, if I'm his lawyer, I would hope that that's the only charge that they put on him is first degree.
Okay.
Because if the only charge is first degree, he's going to get off.
Okay.
Because you have to have intent, you have to have all of these things. None of that was there for a first degree charge.
Right. Right.
So if they don't lower the charge, if they don't put a manslaughter or
I think they're trying to put I think they're trying to put a manslaughter on him. They're trying to.
Let's see. Well, again, I get that's why we have to wait to see what they're going to do on the outside. But as of now, what I'm hearing thus far, as long as they're keeping it at first degree, I think he's got a better chance at winning his getting off on that, in that particular way. And this is not to say I condone by any stretch of the imagination. And this is not to say I condone by any stretch of the imagination. But the prosecutions will overcharge, particularly black folks, when it comes to the criminal justice system. They'll overcharge us for everything. And then try and get you to plead down to the lesser of the charges.
Right.
And then you end up going in and doing your time based on that. I would, nope, y'all got it on one, leave it on one. I wouldn't let them, if I was the defense, I would try not to let them put in a lower charge.
So have you read the stand your ground laws in Texas yet?
I have not. I can say it like this. This is America. We've been battling each other in some way, shape, form, or fashion for too long to sit up here and say that I can't defend myself. Okay. So the idea of not being able to defend myself, as Malcolm would say, by any means necessary, that goes against everything. I can't see any American who would stand by that. You have a right to defend yourself.
I hear you. But let me ask you this: Would you have used the tool? for that situation? If it was you,
I can only say it's
if it was you, would you have used the tool
it's
for that
specific
situation?
to if I'm looking in this situation and I got more than one cat coming at me. Yeah, I might, because I got more than one person coming at me.
Okay.
So the idea now, would I have wanted to do that? I mean, obviously no. But again, you were given warnings. From my understanding, there were things that were said. I don't know. I tend to take somebody at their word. When somebody tell me, "Man, you touch me again."
I mean, we all know that. Hey, man, you touch me and you gonna see what happens. When someone says that, you gotta.
I don't know what else you're supposed to get. I mean, how much more of a warning do you have to get?
You gotta hold on a little bit. Let me ask you, Seth. Would you have used the tool in that situation?
Yeah, to be honest with you, if I got two guys twice my size, it's like a light. If you understand boxing terminology, that's like a lightweight versus two heavyweights. I just put in perspective like Floyd Mayweather versus two Mike Tysons. In that situation, if they towering over me, pushing me, calling me racial epithets that some people have stated, you know, you warned him several times, and then when I'm hit him or punched him, like some saying, and I say, you punch me again, you're gonna see what happens to you, and he does it, whatever you got, hey, you got to defend yourself the best way you know how. It's survival, or you could be the one in the same situation, That's my
Okay.
that's my
FAFO season is in full effect, and it ain't taking no prisoners.
I mean that's fair. That's fair. But me personally, I wouldn't have. But I come from a different era. And when I was in high school, I was 6 foot. Nobody was really messing with me. I always had wherever I went, I always had my people with me. I was always protected. I was always safe. I didn't have to go too far to find my people. And I was raised to handle the situation right there. And if I need to, if I need help, my people they gonna come. So me personally,
yeah.
I wouldn't. And let me tell you, I done fought Samoans. Samoans ain't no small, they ain't small. I'm from California. When Samoans come after you, they don't ever come one. They come with their whole family. It'd be like 3, 4 big ones, and it'd be me. And we just square. I come from that era where we just gonna square up. Like I said, the best thing my dad ever did for me was put me in martial arts at a young age. That's the best thing. It taught me control, taught me self-control, taught me discipline. And I knew how to use my hands and my feet.
Well, in your case, brother, let's say two Shaquille O'Neals coming at you, spur of the moment.
No. I trust me. I got you. I mean, but here's the thing. I'm also from that era where if you gotta get if you gotta get beat, you gotta get beat as long as you live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not afraid of no butt whooping. I'm not afraid. If you got me, you got me. I done fought 3 dudes before and was the last man standing.
I mean, I was about.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
I get the idea. But I'm still going. Listen, man.
But no,
if you outnumber me, if too many cats.
I also know that I grew up in the hood, so I know that I know people who carry tools with them because they had to walk through many different hoods to get home. I know people that did that. I have friends that did that. I mean, I was 6 foot, but there was dudes that was 5'7", 5'8", 5. When we, especially freshmen in high school, you're not big yet. I was just fortunate enough to have my height with me and a little bit of clout that followed me from everywhere I went. I was fortunate enough, and I always hung out with dudes that would, even if I'm 6 foot, the dudes I'm hanging out with is 6'4", 6'5", 6. You know what I'm saying? I was always fortunate enough to I'm the smallest one in the group, but I'm gonna give you that business. But the dudes I hang out with, the dude on the left and dude on the right of me, 6'3", 6'2", and we cleaning everything up. We everything's getting cleaned up.
You're one of the fortunate ones.
I was fortunate. I had a little bit of clout. My name, people knew who I was in my neighborhood. People knew my father. You know what I'm saying? In my city, people know me. People know me. I was fortunate growing up like that, but it wasn't always like that. You know, my dad was military, so I knew how it felt to be the new person in town and have to make friends from scratch. And you know, bullying is just a part of life growing up. You're always, you know, there's always out there that's going to try you.
Yeah, but you've been told from day one as I got my first black eye in the 3rd grade. Came and I didn't hit him back because I didn't want the repercussions from home. And I got home, my dad basically laid it down to me. Listen, man, you're going to have to take care of yourself. You're going to have to defend yourself. Because if you don't, this is going to continue.
Yeah, but man, that's the first lesson my dad taught me was self-respect. You're not going to be able to live with yourself in the morning if you run. It's better that you just stand there and take it like a man. Your self-respect is more important. That's how my dad raised me. Go back out there and get your self-respect.
Exactly.
He taught you right.
Again, it was different. The way in my area it was different. My dad was first of all, my dad was known in our neighborhood. Everybody knew who my dad was. My dad was the father of the block because I grew up in a neighborhood with nothing but single mothers. And my dad and this other African dude was the only fathers on that whole block. And my dad was always big on self-respect. Everybody respected my dad. So I grew up like that. Not everybody had a dad like mine. I understand that. But my dad was very big on self-respect. He made sure that, you know, hey man, if I had a bully, it wasn't going to be a bully too long. So I got my name recognition early. And not everybody had that. So, but again, like I said, I grew up and I knew people that when you go in their locker, they got something in there.
See, I think those of us who were physically gifted in our youth have different perspectives in this regard. You know, because if you a cat that's not the most physically gifted in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I played sports. I was involved in everything. So you're gonna hear my last name because I played sports. I was in football, track, and basketball. And I went to CIF prelims. You know, I raced it. You know, I was up there. I wasn't the last person. I may not have been the first, but I definitely wasn't the last. I was first, second, third, or fourth every time. I competed. Yeah. I competed, and people knew who I was, and they knew who I hung out with. Everybody knew who I hung out with, and again, everybody knew my dad.
Excuse me a sec, much. 𝗔𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀.
Yes, sir.
How
are you?
Not too bad yourself, sir. You have anything you want to add to the conversation, sir?
Yeah, I was just listening to the brothers. I got on a platform just now where they were demanding that I say my race, nationality, and the whole 9 yards, and I just had to jump off. I couldn't deal with that.
You gotta understand, man. Times is different, man. I'm a foundational Black American, and I believe in don't be ashamed of where you come from. You know, I'm not.
No, I'm not ashamed. I teach. I speak at colleges and universities. You know.
Yeah, we need. All I'm saying is we're all melanated, but we're not all from the same tribe, and we just want to know what tribe you're from. That's it.
No, but the way they you know, they were doing it, I just had to get off. I couldn't think because I listened to them.
They came at you real raw.
Yes, and you know, you're not going to disrespect me. I'm going to leave you alone. I get off and left them alone. But anyway, you know, we speaking about the young man that on a live day,
Carmelo Anthony and
right,
Austin McCaffrey.
You know, right, and you know, I feel for both families, right? But like the brother says, and other people saying the same thing. I call it self-defense because you don't put your hands on no one. You don't know what mindset that person might be in, what they're going through. And you got warned. You were warned, full warned. Do not, don't put your hands on me again, right? And he felt that he was big and bad, and he could, justify himself doing it because why? We have a racial epithet in this country. I remember going to school, South Shore High here in Brooklyn, and we used them. Those whitey people used to chase us with bats and chains all the way from Canarsie, all the way to where I live at. We had to haul ass and run until one day we decided to leave school early, and we went and we found where they were hiding their bats and chains, and we turned it on them. But when we turned it on them, then all of a sudden, uh, their family started coming to the school. They want us prosecuted and whatnot. But guess what? My father was a lawyer, and he wasn't having it. He said, my boy's been running all the way from school all the way home. Guess what? Eventually it stopped, and those whitey people left us alone because me and my friends that played ball together, decided to turn it on them. So I understand, and they feel that they're privileged that they could do whatever they want, right? And no one must say anything about it. Okay, I've gotten into a lot of fights, fist fights, and after the fight we gone back to playing and so forth. But this is a different time, and I mentor a lot of youths. I do mentor a lot of youths here. I'm the community director and advocate here in Brooklyn, and I mentor a lot of youths since I was a young man, youngest Black Association president in Brooklyn. Right, at my age, I didn't own a house or anything. I just happened to had children young, and I was trying to raise my children, and I didn't want to come home to my children, something happening to them, and I don't know how I would have reacted. So I challenged the
So,
president of my block,
so let me
right?
ask you this. So,
Yeah,
what would you have kids, right? Do you have a
yeah,
son?
I have children.
You have a son?
Yes, I have three.
Okay. How would you have advised your three boys if they were in a situation like Carmelo?
Well, I do martial arts, and I teach my children, and I tell them plain and straight, don't matter who it is. If anyone put their hands on you, defend yourself.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Yeah.
If anyone put their hands on you, if you know that you are 100% right, and anyone put their hands on you, I'm going to be there to defend you. Whatever action you take,
Is that not the American way?
That is the
that's the
American
American
way.
way.
That is the
You
American
better
way.
believe it.
It is the American way.
My father
Has any,
always tell me, don't let no one put their hands on you.
right.
He said, I'm your father.
read the
He
Penal
said, I'm
Code?
your father, and quoting his word, I'm your father, and I'm not putting my hands on you, so don't let no one put their hands on you. And you don't go out there putting your hands on anyone. But if anyone put their hands on you, defend yourself. Don't come home and tell me. That's what he said.
My dad said the same thing and said, listen, they could let them say whatever they want about you,
That's right.
but if they
You
put their hands on you, you got a right to defend yourself. My
like
uncle taught me this. He said, all you got in this world is your space, your square.
that's right.
If anybody step in that square, and you know what square I'm talking about, the place
You
where
better
you
believe it.
stand, the place where you stand, you have a right to unalive it. And my dad and my uncle, excuse me, he grew up with the NOIs. He was a Nation of
Yep.
Islam.
I know that.
They like, hey, if they get in your square, you got a right to defend yourself with all you got because nobody should be able to take you off your square.
Number two, Carmelo Anthony, we don't know the whole entire situation.
No,
We may speculate a little bit, but
he's
um,
innocent until proven guilty. That's due process. We gotta wait.
and that's due process.
We gotta
Now,
wait. For it.
now, I've watched Dylan Ruth walked into a church and unalive a lot of our people, and they took him to McDonald's,
Burger King.
okay, or Burger King, whichever one, right? I watched this young boy drove how many miles to Buffalo, New York, right, and unalive a lot of people, right, our people, and guess what? they treat him with kid gloves. Okay, they treated him with kid gloves. But I've seen it. Look, I've seen the police officers doing wrong to my people, and I step in. I step in and stop them. Okay, I step in and stop them because I'm the community director and advocate here in Brooklyn.
So let me ask you this question real quick. Let's bring up another case. Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that justified?
No.
No.
Would you have stepped in that situation?
Yep.
And prevented what was happening?
Nothing is justified when it comes to killing black people.
Listen.
Okay. You gotta have TikTok friendly words, Cameron.
I'm sorry.
Don't use
Yeah.
those words, but
Nothing.
Listen. I am not. I'm the type of person. I will not stand up. I don't care who it is. It could be the military standing in front of me. Okay, they'll have to use their pew pew on me because I'm not gonna stand up and let them do anything to my people. I'm gonna step in. I'm in the courts every day, defending and fighting for my people. Okay, and I speak my mind and I tell it like it is, and I'm not gonna back down from no one because my heart don't pump Kool-Aid, and I'm not afraid of anyone but God, but the Creator. And if more of us, right, would take that stand and stand up as one people in unity, I guarantee you this racial nonsense that's going on in this country would have stopped a long time ago. Okay? So we need to unite. We need to come together, right? We need our own space. We do need our own space. Because what I'm seeing going on right now in this city, right, where we have those small hat people stealing our properties, and the district attorneys, they talk all that game and they're not locking these people up. These people committing fraud against us and no one is doing anything. So we need to come together. We need to stand up. I don't care who you are, what you are, where you're from, or what you do. We need to come together because you could be from the continent, you could be from South America or wherever. We all need to come together and stop this nonsense because guess what? I go back into Bookman, Toussaint Louverture, Marcus Garvey, and all these people who left where they were, right, to come to America to defend our people, to stand up and defend our people. Malcolm X said it best, okay? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Right? So we have to, the only way these people are gonna learn, the only way they're gonna learn is when they sleeping giant wake up. And I bet you they're gonna stop doing that nonsense.
Okay.
Period.
Let me ask you this question, sir. Do you think that we are much better off now than we were back in the 60s and 70s?
I would say no.
You would say no.
Because it's still happening. It's happening even more. Because when I was growing up around that time, right? Even though there was a racial epithet going on in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, guess what? They were not unaliving us in the masses like they're doing today.
Well,
okay?
what I'm saying is, we're not getting we still getting lynched, but we're not getting lynched as much as we were back in the. I'm sorry. We're not getting on the live. We're not getting on the live like we were back in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
You know. So
yeah, but
I think the civil rights.
Let them speak.
I think the civil rights and that was fought on the backs of black people have come a long, long way. You know, right now, black people are sitting it out. I mean, this is not black. It's not black versus white. It's white versus race. I mean, black versus racism. Black people are not racist. We're the first people to forgive and forget. But it comes to
You said something, not to cut you off, but you said something that was right on the money. Black people are not racist. We fight against racism. We fight against the systemic.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm glad you point that out.
We're not against the color. It's never been a white black for us. It's always been the system. Because here's the thing about Black Americans, right?
I agree.
If you're really from the lineage, you understand and you know that. Listen, man, words don't. You can say whatever you want to. You can use the N word, all that stuff. But if you come into this area, you're gonna get that work.
That's right.
Got nothing to do with racism. That's just bigotry. Anybody can be a bigot and anybody can be prejudiced. But racism, it comes with power. So as long as you're not the police officer saying these racial epithets, we don't care. But the moment you're a police officer, you're a congressperson, you have these weird ideas like, are you down with the blacks and all this stuff like that. That's where it comes in, and we know that one YT person individually is nothing, but when they get on code against us, that's where they uphold the system of YT supremacy.
Yep.
And we understand it. So it's never been a one-on-one thing because we know one-on-one they don't want that. But when they come at us with a group thought. They overpower us with group thought because they all in the back of their mind know that there's a system upholding them and there's not a system upholding us.
Right. I'm glad you said that.
Well, hold on. I cut him off. Hold on. I cut him off. I want him to finish. I cut him off. I just want to interject.
Go ahead.
You are absolutely right. Black people are not getting unalive like it was back in the day. I remember I served 25 years in the military, and I remember when I was in Virginia for training, went into a bar, and I was new. I'm an immigrant. I'm from Barbados, originally from Barbados, but I joined the military because I wanted to give back something. I wanted to give something back to this country that supported me so much. So I joined the military, and I was in Virginia. It was back in the 80s. I was in Virginia. My thing to see America was get on the Greyhound bus and just drive. And I stopped at this bar. It was a biker bar, but me and some of the just right off the block, right off the boat. And I went into this bar. They know what a biker bar was. But I went into this bar, there was a whole bunch of motorcycles out there. I walked into the bar, and right away, it was like everything stopped. The music stopped, the guys that were playing pool stopped. And I looked around and said, being from Barbados, we have no concept of black or white. Everybody is the same. So I walked into this bar, and I went up to the bar and said, Can I get a beer? And the guy said, he looked at me, he said, are you stupid? I said, no. What do you mean? He said, look around. I said, okay, what am I looking for? He said, do you see any black? He said, do you see any Negroes? And then he used the N-word. And I said,
yeah, he gave you your wake-up call.
Yeah. You were trying to tell me that you are in the wrong place. So I said, he said, man, if you don't get out of here right now, you're not going to leave. You're not going to leave. I said, did I do something wrong? He said, man, you got to be stupid. So I took the hint and I walked out the bar. Went back to the it was Fort Lee, Virginia. I went back to the barracks, and I told the guy, hey man, these guys down there are crazy. He said, where you at? I said, I went to that bar down the street. He said, man, you lucky you got out of there alive. He said, that's a biker bar. Them guys don't like the word.
So how old were you when you came to the U.S., huh?
I was, when I came to the U.S., I was 15. I lived in the St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands till I turned 18.
I'm going to just tell you something. If you had got you around some foundational, You wouldn't have did that, brother. We would have hipped you to what's going on.
I see that's what happened. When I went back to the barracks, the guy said, man, Gilbert, you got to hang out with us till you get climatized, so to speak, to the way things work. This is not Barbados. This is not the island where everybody gets along.
We got to get you right, brother. That's one of the things that we do. We get you right.
And they got me right.
So you don't.
Yeah, we're trying to pick your awareness up.
Yeah, right. They got me right. I stayed in the military. I went to. I was a ranger for 8 years with the SF for 4 years, and I got out in 2005. I got out of the military in 2005. But between the time I was in the military, I learned so much. I did a lot of things that I regret when I was in the military, and I really didn't know how prejudiced it was in the military. My first job in the military was an aircraft mechanic. Back then, aircraft mechanics was just strictly whitey. I had hardly any black guys in aircraft mechanics. But I went in and I was good at what I was doing. And one day I was doing a service on a U-8. It's an executive aircraft. And I had just had a rough night, went out drinking with the boys. And after I finished my maintenance, I was sitting down on the gangway of the aircraft. And this whitey guy came up to me and he said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He said, he smelled my breath. He said, you smell like you were drinking. I said, "Yeah, I was drinking. It was the weekend. It was Monday morning." And he said, "Well, you got to report to your counselor, your guidance counselor." He said, "You need to go and take a blood test." Well, I went to take the blood test. I passed. But just the simple fact that he had made that accusation, it opened up my mind. I said, I'm 18 years old. I can't be responsible for an aircraft because I was going to be an aircraft crew chief, and I finished for U-8s, U-21s, and U-8s. I said, man, I can't do this. I could jeopardize somebody's life. I could jeopardize a bunch of people's life if I don't know what I'm doing. So I requested to change that MOS. Well, they give me a hard time because I only had 6 weeks before I graduated, and school was a 6-month school. And my counselor was a black sergeant. He said, "Gilbert, we need for you to go ahead on and stick this out because we have spent so much money. And if you look around, you are the only black aircraft mechanic in this class. You know, so you scored very high in your ASVAB. You say, I said, "Sergeant, I can't do this because if I mess around and have a bad day and do something messed up, I could kill people, and I don't want to do that."
You can't use those words.
I'm sorry. I could on the live.
Yeah, don't use those words. Hey, but we got to move on to someone else, brother. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. Let me go to Jules Starr real quick. Go ahead, Jules.
Hi, everybody. I was just listening, and an interesting analogy came to my head just now, but in response to the question, are things better now than they were in the 60s? And I think was it Cameron who said, yeah, things are better. An analogy came to my mind. When my son, I'm 62, by the way, when my son is 33, and when he was about 3 or 4 years old, we would go to the arcade. And I would pick him up, and I realized he thought he was playing, and I didn't put any money in the game. So I said to myself, I'm not going to put money in the game. I'm going to let him have a good time and think he's playing the game. So that analogy is us right now. We think we're playing the game, but we're not. Like, there's no money in the slot. And the thing is, we have actually declined. We were united in the 60s because we finally got to the point where we said, we're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. Like, people were at that point. And then
this question, what do you think happened that caused the decline? Like, what do you think happened? Like, we were together in the 60s. Everybody was on code. Everybody was, you help your neighbor.
People were fired up. Yeah.
Everybody was like, man, but once we reached the goal, did you feel like we arrived after the the civil rights movement and everything like that? Did we feel like we arrived? What slowed us down? And
I could tell you what slows us down right now. The man in the White House.
okay, hold on. I'm asking Jules.
Okay,
man.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think that it's really a very easy answer, but for some reason we can't grasp it. When in the '60s, what they did was once they unalived King, and once they unalived Malcolm X, we went on pause. We went on permanent pause. Okay. And the reason I said it's easy is you look at each era. So you got the '70s. We made some advances because now we don't have to sit in the back of the bus. Now we can vote. And that was pretty much it. And then we got affirmative action, which was a very positive move in an effort to level the playing field for us. But immediately after we got the affirmative action and we were able to enter colleges and certain jobs and different things, there were lawsuits by other minorities and women who said, we want in too. And next thing you know, there was no more affirmative action. So we took a hit on that. And we've been declining. And then in the, I don't know what was happening in the '70s. I think that was gang wars. There was gangs. And then in the '80s, the big one happened, which was the smack. Mm-hmm. Remember Whitney said it was whack? Mm-hmm. Yes. And also we were hit with the AIDS. We were hit hardest with AIDS. Mm-hmm. And then in the '90s, I voted for Clinton because once he played the saxophone on that night show, I was in love with him. I call him the Black president. But later on, I found out that it was his administration that decided to throw all the Black men in prison. So that was another attack. We're talking the '90s. Then in the 2000s, I think the 2000s started, I don't know what exactly was going on in the 2000s, but I think that started the music decline, where one of the worst declines is music, because that is the attack directly on your mindset, because the music reflects what's happening. You can always look at the music and kind of get a feeling what the mood was during the day. It's going to reflect they're telling the story of what's happening. I mean, you can go back to slavery and listen to the spirituals. Then we created jazz. We took that and we just were creating and we were singing.
Where's your family from? Where's your family from?
Well, we've migrated to Philadelphia. So we've been in Philadelphia since, I think, the '40s.
But where'd your family start out from? Like, what part?
We started out in North Carolina and then ended up in Maryland for a very long time, and mostly been in Philadelphia since the '40s.
Okay, yeah,
what he's asking you, sisters, are you FBA?
Oh, she's FBA. We can tell.
Well, one reason I know I'm getting old is because I can't deal with FDBCA or LBTQR or pronoun. Like that part, my mind refuses anymore. Like I can't. I'm just Black.
Okay, there you go.
I'm just lazy at this point.
You ran down
I'm just lazy.
You ran down the lineage and what happened to us too well. She's from the lineage.
Oh no, I get that. Because see, my perspective when I hear the '70s, I hear that other issue hit our community, particularly when at the end of the Vietnam conflict. Too many cats came home addicted to other substances.
Yeah.
They came in our communities and they were not well.
Right.
And then that particular substance got pushed and flooded into our communities.
But that was a different substance from the '80s, right? The '70s was
no. '70s was H. Drug.
Yeah, right.
That's what that was.
Right.
And
that's
right
what
after that,
guitar
right after that,
late '60s, '70s was the H drug,
right. And right after that,
late '70s, early '80s was the
smack drug.
Was it the white stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the white girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But see, these were attacks on our community that we did not realize were being placed upon us
Right.
by powers that be that were over
Exactly.
us.
But
So when
Right.
you're
And that's
asking
why the Black Panthers.
what happened in our communities, that's what happened. It wasn't
Yep.
us going out there. Ain't no cocoa plants. It ain't no.
Nope.
These things were placed in our communities.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and again, we're having a peaceful conversation, and everything's going good, but we've been infiltrated by many different things. If we really want to get down,
That's right.
you know, we've been infiltrated by Pan-Africanism. That was one thing that hurt our people a lot, because it took us away from our community and made us start focusing on somebody else's plight and building up somebody else's homeland. That hurt us. Okay, not knowing who's who. Being one big Negro. Everybody's black. Everybody's black. No. Not everybody's from the lineage. And it's okay not to be from the lineage. You can be melanated and we can still get along. But when we start letting everybody come in and say, hey, man, I'm black, you're black, we're black, and thinking that everybody cares about the black community, which is us, that hurt us too. The Democratic plantation has affected us. Us just thinking Democrat is the only one that's non-racist and is for us has hurt us. It put
I
us
agree.
on 60
I agree.
years. 60 years of depending on one party to fix everything for us and them never doing it.
Never did.
Still give our allegiance to them. The
And
propaganda and witchcraft has really destroyed our community to the max. The propaganda.
You're saying something very important, Too Much.
Go ahead, King.
No, you just said something very important. Witchcraft.
Yeah.
It's witchcraft that they were using for decades against you people in the United States. And now I see it over here. I'm living in Nederland, born in Suriname. I see the witchcraft. It's witchcraft. And I would like to, I came up to thank Julius Starr for explaining those decades, what happened. The music is gone.
Gone.
They removed
Totally
the music.
gone.
You know why the music
I
is
grew
gone?
up with the music.
Because the people
I
who
see a lot of
invented
goofy
music
things.
are not in the music anymore. The people who invented the music, who started the music, is no longer in the music anymore. They took us out and replaced it
Yes.
with someone that looks like us, but they don't have the spirit like us.
Yes.
I
what
can't
happened.
feel the soul
And
anymore.
they're willing to say whatever they want to say for the money.
Yes.
We had Michael Jackson try to tell us what was going on. Prince tried to tell us what was going on. Sam Cooke tried to tell us what was going on. All these people try to tell us what was going on, what was happening to us.
Marvin Gaye.
What was happening to it. They tried to tell us what was going on, and we were under heavy propaganda and witchcraft. Heavy propaganda and witchcraft. And a lot of people didn't know they was getting hit with the cocktail. They go out drinking and get hit with the cocktail and wake up a degenerate, because that's what those cocktails do. Those Diddy parties, those cocktails.
Yeah.
They give you these cocktails, you drink it, and you remember what you did, but you can't control what you're doing.
Right.
And you suffer the trauma of, oh man, I can't believe I did this. And then the blackmail and the witchcraft and the more propaganda come, and before you know it, you're far from who you knew you was. You're so far, you don't even remember that person no more. You're soulless. They zapped your soul out of you. They just took it up out of you.
Excuse me. You know who really broke it down? Damon Wilson. He played Lamont Sanford on Sanford and Son. He was on Comedy Hype. He really broke it down. He said the 60s and the 70s. Okay.
Richard Pryor.
Okay, yeah. And he said 60s and the 70s. He said they've been doing that. Yeah, 60s and 70s he was doing that. He said even before he got with Sanford and
Richard
Son,
Pryor mentioned that.
Yeah, exactly.
Richard
Lord,
Pryor.
what you think?
Look what happened to Richard Pryor, man. Richard Pryor, Pam Grier, all of them got. They start. Everybody. This is what I can tell you. Everybody starts out with character, with morals, with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment you start getting them cocktails, see, here's what else I noticed, and I don't want to go too far off topic, but I do want to touch on this. If you ever notice people in Hollywood, they don't necessarily stick with their family. Once they get into Hollywood, they leave their family behind.
Yep, that's
They
right.
have to. It's like the people that handle their money is not their family. The people that book their appointments is not their family. It's like you far removed from your morals and your integrity, or people that can remind you who you are and where you come from, and they surround you with a bunch of frenemies.
Yep.
A bunch of frenemies they surround you with.
I'm gonna say this real quick. And I was into the music business, right? My record company was Sunrise Production. I walked away and left it in Atlanta, Georgia, when I moved back to New York. And let me say this: back in the late '80s, when the small hat people start taking over the music business, right? Start buying up our radio stations and everything. Then all of a sudden, right, they start allowing any and every kind of music to play on the radio, right? But when our people that own our own radio station and so forth, they were literally telling us what we could play and what we couldn't play, right? But when the small hat people took it over, it was fair game for them because it was about the money for them, and they destroy our music integrity. Okay, they destroy it because they let the people just come and sing anything and play anything, do whatever they want, right? And it affected us. It affected us. So they had a motive, and that's what they were doing. They literally orchestrate that, and then they get our people, and they say, "Oh, we'll give you so much, but you gotta think." And half of our people that took the contracts from those people wind up with nothing.
They've been exploitive. The music industry has been
Yes.
exploitive of our community in particular from the very beginning. We've had too many of our elders who were major breadwinners for the companies, but they themselves still ended up having to go out and get a 9 to 5 because they didn't necessarily, they didn't do what Chuck Berry did because they just didn't know, because they were not educated in watching their dollars.
Right.
And they were counting on that because most of our community has been ill-educated when it comes to our financial literacy. So you get easily manipulated under this contract.
Well, let me give y'all the game real quick. Listen, man, we got technology here. We might as well use it. You guys don't know about Notebook LM. Start pushing your contracts through Notebook, anything, PDF documents, contracts, anything through Notebook LM. Run it through your AI, Grok, ChatGPT, and start talking to it. Put your housing contract, put anything in there. And one thing, shout out to you. One thing y'all need to understand is anything that says arbitration, you opt out automatically. You don't
straight up
anything with arbitration involved in it. I don't care how much you like it. You opt out. It's a trick bag. It traps you. Once you get into arbitration, they can do whatever they want to. So again, if anything, we need to be complaining about. If anything, what we need to make a major movement, and I mean between this year and next year, especially if you're foundational, you need to be making a move on contracts, making the contracts non-predatory, and making it so that we don't have to accept any arbitration anymore. That goes for our credit cards. That goes for our jobs. I mean, jobs are starting to do that too, where you can't just go and sue no more. They're going to put you through arbitration first, and you need to be able to opt out. Out of Facebook and all these social medias, because they're all under an arbitrary thing where you got to go through one person, and one person has your life dangling in their hand, and that's wrong. We got
Well,
to let them
put everything
correct
in your
and get
trust.
them to change that.
Create a foreign trust and put your stuff in that trust.
Irrevocable trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
Bills
get it.
don't cut it no more.
We can talk financing like that, but that's not going to help you with these contracts. That's not going to help you when it comes time to getting justice for yourself. That's going to help you protect your assets. But what about
You got to go in first, having that thing thoroughly read and investigated.
So start using your notebook LM. Listen. Very, very simple. Because I'm about to get us back on track here in a minute. But I do like the conversation where it's going. But you got to run everything through AI now. That's the best way to do it. If you got something like 456 pages of documents, you ain't got time to read that House bill. That's 456 documents. Go down and figure out what the House bill is. Get the link and put it in your notebook LM. And notebook LM, not only will it can you talk to it and ask questions about what's in that bill or what's in that document, it will also create you a 15-20 minute explainer.
Is that an app?
In podcast form, where it'll tell you, give you a greater understanding of what you have in front of you, and it will tell you what the pros and the cons are. See,
Is that an app you can load up?
No, you don't have to load up nothing. You just have to go to the website. Notebook LM is a website. You can Google on your Google, type in Notebook LM, and it'll take you right to it. If you have AI, if you have ChatGPT, thank you, man, appreciate it. If you have Grok, you can use Grok on Twitter. Grok is very good for that. You can put in a document on Grok, and you can start asking it questions about that document, and it will tell you what it is before you get involved in it, before you commit. Any type of business transaction or business deal, run it through the AI. Don't just take the word for, oh, it says this that. Your cell phone, wireless, just start running those documents through AI, and then right then when you see that arbitration, you know to opt out. And then what you can do is send them the document back without the arbitration and said, I specifically excluded this. I signed this, but I'm not signing that.
That's a good point. That's a good point there. I got something I'm working on this week. I'm trying to think about if I should do it or not.
Anybody send you, listen, use the tools, man. The best thing we got right now to really come back, I keep telling people, we're going from analog to digital to blockchain technology. As a people, as a melanated people, as foundational Black Americans, we have got to get onto the blockchain. See, blockchain is right now the centralized government, they don't know what to do with it because it's too free, it's too open, they can't control it.
It's like TikTok.
They can't control it. So we need to jump over there because that is the future of our currency. Listen, you can put anything on the blockchain. You can put what Carfax. You know Carfax?
Yeah.
Yep. Tell you everything about the car. You could put that on the blockchain.
Okay.
And I guarantee that it's going to be put on the blockchain eventually because it just makes sense. You can't trust
Too much. What is I hear a lot about it, but what is blockchain actually?
Blockchain is nothing but it's a decentralized ledger. Everything is recorded on there. Like okay, if I give you $1 and you give that dollar to somebody else give that dollar to somebody else, they don't know where that dollar originated from. But if you put it on the blockchain, you know where it originated from, where it started, and how many different hands it touched until it got to you. It's a
how do I get into that blockchain?
It's easy. I mean, it's not difficult. Everything in the blockchain, the Bitcoin's on blockchain. You just got to start doing your research on what blockchain is. Blockchain technology is here to stay. I do music. I have a couple websites. I have a couple businesses that I run. And let me tell you what I'm doing with those businesses. I'm upgrading them so they can handle the blockchain. I want to be able to accept payments through the blockchain. I want to be able to sell my music. Yeah, crypto. I want to be able to sell my music through the blockchain. Why? Because I don't have to mess with any type of record label or any distributing company. Y'all can go straight to the blockchain and get it for yourself.
Bitcoin is on the going to be under investigation right now.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
You can't go. You can't take Bitcoin to the store and pay for your groceries.
Not right now. Not right now. Not right now. But you can. But businesses that opt into Bitcoin, yes, you can.
You could transfer it into credits.
And I'm gonna tell you this right now. Any company that doesn't, if you have a Bitcoin and that company doesn't accept it, I guarantee they will. If you have a Bitcoin, somebody's gonna say, "Give me that Bitcoin, and I'll get you what you want."
Yep.
I guarantee.
Definitely.
I ain't ready to give up the dollar yet.
If you have a Bitcoin, if you have a Bitcoin of anything, somebody's gonna be like, "Give me that." Yeah, I'll take that. Man, I'll exchange currency for you real quick.
Too much. The problem is with those coins, you can't spend it in stores at this moment. If I'm looking at the stores in Nederland
there are some
itself,
stores you can already spend Bitcoin in. There are a lot. No, but you got to understand why there's not. Because it's bad for the bank. It's bad for the banks. The banks cannot control it. Like my bank, Bank of America. They will not accept me. They will not accept me taking my money out the bank and putting it in a Bitcoin, and they won't accept me receiving an exchange from the Bitcoin in Bank of America right now. But that's not how it's always going to be. The moment the banks figure out how to centralize it or find a way to have some sort of centralization with it, man, it just makes sense.
That's what they're working on.
Of course they're going to accept it. But we don't want, but here's the thing, as a people, we don't ever want the banks to centralize this thing. We don't ever want them to have control over Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is for the people, by the people. Crypto, I mean, not Bitcoin, but crypto in general.
Crypto, yeah.
For the people, by the people. We want to keep it to where governments can't control it, but we can use it as a pass-through anytime we want to.
Yep, crypto and Bitcoin.
Well, we'll know on the 20th of this month what this country is really heading to. Because if the man declares martial law, then we going back way back, you know. Because
we don't do boogeyman tactics over here. We don't do scare tactics. We don't try to do fear mongering tactics. That's the Democrats.
I'm new to this.
Yeah, that's the Democrats. That's the Democrats. They're gonna.
I call them Democrats.
They're going to tell you, oh, we going back to slavery. We going back to segregation. Oh, they trying to take away Black History Month. Oh, you too can be deported too, nigga. No, we can't. If you're foundational, you can't be deported. This is our land, and we gonna fight for this land, and we gonna stay on this land. And
100%.
Nobody kick us out. Nobody.
1,000%.
Listen, I had a buddy tell me, well, what if ISIS come and get you? I said, let me tell you something. I said, I asked him, I said, will the whole world know about it, or is it private? He said, the whole world's gonna know about it. I said, my people are gonna burn it down. The moment you try to ship one foundational Black American off this land and put them in the land they belong to, that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
Oh, can I say something?
And we know about it. Oh, it's going to be it's going to be this is going to be global. One thing I love about foundational Black Americans, and let me just segue back into Carmelo Anthony, is you see how we bring spotlight to something? If we didn't bring spotlight to this case right here, they would railroad this gentleman.
Yep, that's right.
If we didn't shine the light on Carmelo Anthony,
Too much, one moment. Everybody share this live. Tap the screen. Share this live at least 10
I've been
times
tapping.
with your friends.
I got you up to almost 10,000 right now. I've been tapping since I came on.
Yeah, tap
I
the
need
screen.
to study
Please,
something
guys,
too much, but I
tap the
will come
screen.
back to
Let's
you
get
about
them
it.
up to 50,000 if we can.
Yeah, tap the screen, share the
Because
live.
the likes
you
are
can
too
speak-
too low at this moment.
Yeah, you could talk and tap. I've been tapping all the way through.
Yeah,
You see all that, all them hearts going up. That was me tapping all the way through.
Share the live. But that's the thing about
Help me get it
foundational
up,
Black
guys.
America. We know how to shine the light and get to the truth. If we get to it, if it reaches news, we're gonna take it national. So we'll take a small event and we'll take it national once we get a hold of it. Because they were gonna try to railroad this brother Carmelo Anthony. And again, he's innocent until proven guilty. I'm for justice. But I'll tell you this: if y'all let Daniel Penny get away with it, if y'all let Carl Rittenhouse get away with it, and then y'all try to railroad my brother Carmelo Anthony, that's a problem. That's a problem. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel bad for the family that lost a life, and I feel bad for the son that may possibly have to do the time. Would I have handled that situation differently? Yes, I would have handled that situation differently. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have had, like I said, I would have been there with these, and that's would have been all I needed at that moment.
That's not how it is these days. First thing we go for is a gun.
Well, okay, again, brother.
I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry.
All right, you keep it up. They going. I ain't gonna say them. They gonna just drop you. You gonna realize you can't come back on live. I'm trying to.
Who was that?
You got to come down. But let me read this real quick. Let me read the Texas Stand Your Ground law. Okay, I put it through the AI. It says Texas Stand Your Ground law embedded in the self-defense statutes, Penal Code 9.31 and 9.32. As discussed earlier, allows a person to use force, including unalived force, to protect themselves without duty to retreat if they reasonably believe it's immediately necessary. Specifically in section 9.31 for self-defense, you can use force against someone if you reasonably believe it's necessary to protect yourself from their unlawful force. There's no duty to retreat if you are lawfully present, didn't provoke the situation, and aren't engaged in any criminal activity.
Well, with so what you just read,
good. Hold on. So far, so good.
Right.
So far,
with what
so
you
good.
just read, with what you just read, I do law. I have a Juris Doctorate in law, and I can tell you this: with what you just read, if that's the Texas law, he's supposed to walk.
Right. So far, so good. But that's for reasonable force against reasonable force. Now, 9.32 talks about unaliving force. You can use unaliving force if you meet the self-defense criteria in 9.31 and you reasonably believe it's immediately necessary to either protect yourself from the other person's use or attempt of unlawful unaliving force, or prevent the imminent commission of serious crimes like murder, aggravated, I'll say body snatching, okay, SA, or stealing. Okay, the law presumes your belief in the necessity of unaliving force is reasonable if the other person was unlawfully entering your home, vehicle, workplace, or committing one of the listed serious offenses, and you didn't. And key thing is, you didn't provoke them, and you weren't engaged in any criminal activity. So far, based off 9.31 and 9.32, if we're just going off the law, not by race, not by anything else, and if we use Zimmerman, Daniel Penny, and Kyle Rittenhouse, to me, it looks like unless new evidence come in, we still got to wait for all the evidence to come in. I read the police report, you guys, and it's strange how they keep saying that he admitted to it. I want y'all to pick up on that. They keep saying that he admitted to the crime. He did. They keep saying that he didn't run. He said he wasn't alleged. It was him. And then there were certain officers who didn't have their body cam on. Already, my spidey senses is up. They didn't have, a couple of them didn't have their body cam on, and they were all their stories. They kept mentioning the same thing, that he said, I did it.
But the stories keep changing.
I did it. Well, I'm
You're
going
talking
off the
about his
police
particular story. He hasn't changed his story.
Yeah.
He copped to what he did. Yes,
Right.
absolutely, he did.
But all the police officers keep saying that. It's like it's almost like they're trying to put him. And then again, they gave him $1 million bond. Now he's out now, but they gave him $1 million bond as a 17-year-old kid who admitted to it, who didn't run.
And that tells something about what they were trying to do. Like you said, if this didn't come out like it did, he would have been railroaded. Because I've seen too many people got railroaded.
The system's set up to railroad us specifically. It's not set up to railroad a whole lot of others, but it is specifically set up to railroad us. Remember one thing, I'll say this before I forget it. George Zimmerman was instructed to walk away by an active officer within the judicial system.
Yes.
And then he went on to do what he did.
Let me read what the witnesses said. Witnesses say Anthony responded by reaching into his backpack saying, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf then touched or grabbed Anthony to move him, and Anthony pulled out a tool and used that tool against Metcalf in the chest and fled. And Metcalf was unalive shortly after, and then Anthony was arrested. But witnesses said, the key thing, I read the police reports. Too many different people said that he was pushed first. He was grabbed to get out of that section in the rain. Now the rain plays a part in it too, because why else would he be in someone else's tent if he wasn't trying to get out of the rain? Now I ran track in the rain, all the above. And we know how people are territorial about their tents. But let's keep it a buck. I've had people in my tent, and I've been up other people's tent, especially when it was raining, to get out of the rain.
Yep.
Look at the state he's in right now. The state.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Listen, when I ran track, and it rained sometimes. It rained sometimes. And I wanted to get out of the rain for a little bit. I'm gonna chill right here, and when the rain goes, I'm gonna be on my way.
Texas is a red state.
He's a lineman who ran track, not a fast guy.
I remember. Listen, I lived in Georgia. I lived in Florida. I worked in South Carolina, and I remember going through Roanoke, Virginia. Right, stopped to get gas, and they told me point blank, "We don't serve the N-word in here."
That's the same way I felt.
Nah, man,
There's
you got to let that
there's
shit
the next
go.
gas station down the road. Maybe they might serve you. I went through that, so I know. Listen, we could be in denial all we want and so forth, but listen, it is alive and kicking, and we have to put an end to it. And the only way is getting back into the 60s and 70s when we were more together than anything else. Unity is strength.
Let that go.
One question to you, 𝗔𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀. Where are you originally from? Because I hear some Caribbean sound.
Yeah, my parents are from South America, Guyana.
I'm from Suriname. What I would like to ask you is that
I'm from Pittsburgh,
focusing on Guyana itself. Our brothers and sisters in the United States, they have their fight. They are with many. And they are very intelligent and decades ahead. We should look up to how they deal with these things, but we have to do some work also in our own lands, because
it's called learning the rights. Now we have cameras. That's what we do.
One moment, let me speak.
You know, my brother, what I say, each one teach one.
Look,
each one reach one.
One moment, bro. Look,
Yeah, go ahead.
we as Guyana people, because Suriname is also Guyana, we
Guyanese.
should be focusing. We should be focusing on our people, on our land, because the land belongs to us, not the Hindustani people. They made some
Right.
mistakes. I've been reading documents where we can tackle them, where we can show them, look, those documents, I'm not going to call the documents over here. Those documents were written by Hindustani people. And in those documents, they stated that it's possible for those who call themselves Africans, who identify with Africans, can be repatriated back to Africa. They will get some money to repatriate themselves to Africa. And that's big nonsense because we ain't Africans. You should teach your people that we ain't Africans, because if you accept that identity, Africans, you erase everything of your ancestors.
That's right.
And that makes it possible for these Hindustani people to move you off your land.
That's right.
So
Just
what
like
I'm
the
trying to tell
just
you
like
as
the
a brother
Europeans are
from,
trying to do.
listen, I'm talking. As a brother from the Guyanas, I'm from Suriname, you're my neighbor. And back in the days, we were one country.
Yep.
I would like to ask you to teach your people that they ain't Africans, but they are original, indigenous, aboriginal people of the lands itself of South America.
There you go.
They should do their genealogy. That means they should do their family tree, because that piece of information is going to change a lot of things. I'm not playing.
But
Because these
my brother,
Hindustani
let
people
me
have
say
an
this.
evil. One moment. These Hindustani people have an evil agenda. They want to colonize the Caribbean and the Guyanas. So focus on the land itself. Don't focus on the United States, because we can only learn from them. They are ahead, and I see them as the leaders at this moment. What they are
No.
spreading out, they have more knowledge than we have because we were lazy. And if we listen to them, what they are saying, we can implement that among our own people to take back what belongs to us. Because the Hindustani people in Suriname have claimed oil and gas for themselves. And I'm going to take it away from them.
Guyana is rich in minerals, gold, everything. My grandmother is from Guyana, and Guyanese gold is a very very popular in the Caribbean. I mean, the gold is
It's the most popular gold in the world.
Let me say it like this so y'all can understand for real. Listen, Pan-Africanism is never gonna work. As foundational Black Americans, we are focused on our community and our people first. But there's gonna come a time where we're gonna need allies and we're gonna need to do trade. I'd rather trade with my brothers and sisters in the Americas. I shouldn't have to go over to Africa. Africa needs to take care of Africa and its tribalism. But I would rather trade with my people here in the Americas. But the problem comes to stand that we're having as foundational Black Americans, and we've been infiltrated by too many non-foundational Black Americans. Too many people want to be Black in America, when the real Black community is us. And we're not, we don't have no, listen, if you show respect, we're going to show respect. It's not about putting one down or one group above or one group below. But we are saying we want y'all at this time to stay out of our politics. Don't have, when you see something going down, check with us first before you start bringing in comments that may be contrary to what we're doing, i.e. our reparations. We're asking people to stand down, and we're asking people to get out of our politics. We don't want another Kamala Harris situation. We don't want another Obama situation. Because what happens when we bring those people in? Those people are bought and paid for by the dominant society, and they're just there to be a token. We don't want any more tokenism in our community. We only want.
I've been saying that for a long time.
We only want people from the grassroots that we know and that we vetted to speak on our behalf.
We need to stop using the N word
we
and
don't
stop
want
calling
the
a sister the
NAACP.
B word.
Yeah, we don't. It ain't even about that. We don't want the NAACP. We don't want the Boule. We don't want the Roland Martins. Okay.
Oh, I love Roland Martin. Hold on.
Roland
No,
Martin
no,
too.
no, no,
I
no, no,
love
no.
Roland. Wait, which Roland
Skip Roland
Martin?
Martin because he's an idiot.
Roland Martin is a second generation immigrant who has not said one
Roland
word
Martin
about
is
reparations
what
other than
is
shut up about it.
the problem, because Roland Martin keeps trying to keep. Look, y'all, if you don't know, Roland Martin has been bought and paid by the Democrats.
Yep.
He is a shield. That's what he does. If we were able to go into his financials, we will find out that they've been paying this brother some big money to say what he's saying. He pretends to be independent, but he's not independent. He's bought and paid for. It even came out that he accepted money from the Democrat Party, and they paid that brother hundreds and thousands of dollars. They paid Joy Reid $3 million, and she's not worth it.
Not to forget Joy Reid.
Wait a minute, you named
Joy
all
Reid-
the people
Joy
that
Reid
I really love and trust, which is I met Roland Martin, I followed Joy Reid.
Remember, I'm telling you, we've been under heavy propaganda and witchcraft. They're with that.
They are part of the wizards and witches that are delivering that.
And the warlocks and all the stuff that's been happening to it. They're the ones that they're here to make us emotional. And as long as they can keep us in our emotions, we'll never use our logic. We'll never use our head and our gut to lead us. If we
never use your common sense.
If we keep leading with this, they're always going to tug on our hearts. And how they do it? They bring up racism, and they always want to point at one particular party. They never want to point out their own racism, but they point out the other party, and they try to make them the evil person. Oh, Trump is this, Trump is that, blah, 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 blah. That's what they do.
Yep. That's the divide and conquer method.
We can't trust the Boule. We can't trust the NAACP. We can't trust anybody who is non-FBA on television right now, because they all sold us out. The Jesse Jackson, who's labeled as an Indian, he's the one that tried to call us African American. We were black before we became African American.
Yep.
We were African American until 1988.
Yep.
We can't trust these people. They sold us out.
Just like a lot of the clergies are selling us out.
It's time we come to terms with that and realize. And I know it's tough for some, especially some of our older generation, to hear that. I'm your brother. Listen, I'm your brother. I'm a foundational Black American. My family comes from Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, West Virginia. I'm in California right now. Okay?
Mr. Seth, can you mute your mic, bro?
There's something going on in the background there, brother. But listen, we can't trust Black people on TV right now. We can't trust celebrities because, listen, Hollywood is a den of thieves. Hollywood is a den of gluttony and debauchery, and they're part of the. You know what a psyop is? Anybody know what a psyop is?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, if you know what a psyop is, then you would understand when I tell you that psyop and television, same thing.
Psychological warfare.
Psyop and television. Think of the word. Television is the same. It's psychological warfare. It's there to make you believe and spin narratives. And the legacy media cannot be
books on that.
You can only trust the grassroots. If it doesn't come from us, we got to question it. That's why Burchell, I said, don't get offended when people ask you where you're from because they hear your accent, because we need to know who you are so we know what team you playing on.
Who could you trust?
Because all black
and guess what?
All black
guess
is
what?
not all black is not black.
Nope.
All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Well, I know that, and I learned that from young.
And we have to start gatekeeping what we do because people are coming in to take and steal from us, and act like they're the inventors of something that we invented already. They're trying to act like they started it when we've been doing it, and they're here. These other groups are coming in because they want something from us, and the moment they get what they want, they turn their back on us.
Whoa.
So we got to stop giving away the game to everybody, and we got to start checking who's who. Now, again, we don't got a problem with everybody. We don't got a problem with nobody from the Caribbean. We don't got a problem with nobody from Africa. None of that. We only got a problem with their Sambo class, their tether class that come over here and try to undermine us.
Yep.
Exactly.
We can't
And
have that
I hate people for that undermining people. Listen, I'm out in these streets, literally fighting to protect, especially our young foundational black men and women. And I'm here every day. Listen, sometimes I'm up on my computer till way out hours in the morning, researching laws and so forth, so that I could better serve, right, our people. And I hate it when our people get out there and fight among each other. And like you said, you could say that, yes, I love all my black people, but not everybody is black. No.
No, but hold on, because this might be shocking to you, and I don't want you to be shocked, brother. You know, you're still a brother. You haven't found anything other than a brother yet. You know, but a lot of times this might be the deal breaker. Okay.
Too much. One moment. It's okay to shock people.
I'm about to
because
shock.
by shocking them, you're destroying lies in them.
Right.
And I call it coaching. It's just coaching what you're doing. They should get used to it. It's no hate. It's to change that narrative.
Right.
Education.
Right. And this is all it is. I don't want y'all to take this as hate, but I want y'all to really understand what I'm saying. As a foundational Black American, we coined that phrase black. Nobody was black until they came to the United States. So we don't necessarily consider you as black.
Period.
You're melanated.
Melanated.
You're copper colored. We're all, listen, if you're from the Americas, you're part of the copper colored people.
Period. Listen.
But the only people who are black is who come from the lineage, who come from the chattel slavery and the copper colored races here in the United States. We consider our indigenous brothers and sisters foundational Black Americans. We consider some of our African ancestry, the ones that came over through chattel slavery, that came to the Americas only as foundational Black Americans. We consider some of our Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters who came from the lineage as foundational Black Americans. We consider some of our NOI brothers and sisters who are here in the Americas as foundational Black Americans. But that's it. We have delineated to protect ourselves from infiltration. Malcolm X was unalived, not by foundationals, by non-FBAs pretending to be us because they had this melanated color.
Really? Is that so?
Excuse me a second, brother. Let me interject this right quick. First, Too Much. Go on and mute up Mr. Smith, because the beep is getting a little intense.
Man, you got to fix that whatever that is, and you know that.
Yeah, no, it's a smoke detector. But one, let me finish this. The idea. I'm going to go back to this Roland Martin thing. If you are going to call yourself being black and supporting black, and FBA is what we're calling it, you have to be listening to the new black media.
Come on.
Roland Martin is not a part of the new black media. The new black media is Professor Black Truth, the Black Authority, Tariq Nasheed, Afro Elite, Lisa Cabrera, Vicky Dillard, Torian Rain. These brothers are out here doing their thing, and they're keeping the information prevalent for us. But the idea that Roland Martin is giving viable information to the community, there hasn't been one person in the Democrat Party who has said, thanks, Roland. We're going to implement these ideas that you brought forth. And he's been in this thing a long time, and he's had their ear for a long time. And they've had him by the ear for an extremely long time.
Now hold up real quick.
He's not giving us anything.
Now hold up real quick, cousin. I gotta talk to our sister Jules because I know she's shocked by what she's saying.
I know.
So I gotta. Are you okay, Jules? Are you there, Jules? Can you come on?
She's
No, I hear you. I didn't know what foundational. I've been hearing people like I'm hearing too much, like pretendians and foundation. Like it's too much. But I didn't know what foundational was, and now I do. So I didn't really know what they meant by that.
Jules,
but so no. I totally hear you.
Jules, you are of the lineage, ma'am.
Oh yeah. I was born that way.
You're of the lineage, ma'am. I can hear it.
Oh yeah.
Because
I got it.
You have we're always infiltrated. That's always been our downfall. And I always think about Africa because I say to myself, how were they tricked this way? That everything like this occurred to them. And even the Native Americans, how are you tricked this way? And even now we have to not be tricked in the same way. Like you have to vet. And it's sad and it's just heartbreaking to be sold out. Like,
ma'am, let me tell you something. I did a show Saturday and Friday. I'm gonna restart the series again tomorrow. But if you look at the Webster's Dictionary of 1828, and this is Googleable, and you ask the Webster's Dictionary, what is the definition of an American? It's totally different.
What's your definition of American
today? The definition of an American, according to the Webster's Dictionary of 1828, hold on, brother, it's a little bit loud back there. I'm gonna mute you up a little bit. Is copper-colored race. It says American. The definition of American is indigenous copper-colored races found here by European. That was the definition of an American. And remember what they called us. We had three classifications in the United States. The American Negro. Think about that. Why did they have to say American Negro? And then why did they have to say African Negro? And then why did they have to say American Creole? Those were the three classifications that we had in the 1800s, the early 1800s. There was a guy named Walter Pleckert who gave us the one-drop rule from Virginia. There's no way you can get 43 million black people into this country coming over from Africa. I'll say about 300,000 made it. But the rest, they pulled the okie doke on us.
We were already here before. We were already here.
We were, and made us all Negroes. The American Negro, that's what we were. Or the ones that didn't get shipped off to the reservations, the ones that stayed behind, they opted into the United States of America, which is the corporation. And they all became Negroes. So listen, I know you heard this. I know you heard this before, Jules. I know if you go ask your parents, your grandparents, they're going to tell you that you're Cherokee. They're going to say you're some type of Indian. My dad was born in 1942. My dad and my mom told me that I was Cherokee and Blackfoot Indian. They never ever told me about African anything. They've always told me I was Cherokee and Blackfoot Indian. And I didn't believe them, because I went to school. School is just indoctrination.
Too smooth.
I learned about African American history.
Too smooth. Excuse me a second. So we're a family, man. Because I'm from the Blackfoot Indians, man. Okay? My great grandmother and them, they were Blackfoot Indians.
Yeah, I'm Blackfoot. And listen, the Americans, the Americas, y'all are my closest relatives because if you're indigenous to the Americas, we, we're s- we're somewhere down the line, real
That's
brothers.
right.
But
That's right.
but we had an ethnogenesis in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We are no longer, we listen. We have some of us have African ancestry. We're not denying the slave trade, and we're not like all these Indians who try to deny slavery. Oh, we were never enslaved. I had farms. I had this. I had that. No, if you were an American Indian and you didn't get on that reservation, and they caught you out here walking around like this, and you were in the South. You didn't have no farm or no plantation in the South like you thought you did. They rounded you up and put you. You may have thought you was a sharecropper, but you couldn't go home. You were a slave, and they mixed you in with the African slaves too.
Too much. Can I say
And that's
something?
what makes up a foundational Black American. We've all been hoodwinked. We've all been tricked. We've
Rachel,
all
hey man,
been
we can hear that.
propaganda and
Mute up,
witchcraft.
man.
Yes, sir, man.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff going in the background. The you know, we've all had the hunger. That's why we have to. That's why it's important that we do our genealogy and we find out the truth. I did my DNA and I did my genealogy. When I looked at my DNA, regardless of where they tried to plant me and say my people are from here, when I looked at my ancestors, my descendants, down to my seventh cousins, all of them are here in the United States.
Yeah. Can I say something too much?
Go ahead.
Look, yes, there were a few ships with people
A
coming
few.
from Africa,
A few.
but those people, even those people, weren't Africans, and that's well documented also. They were among these West Africans, but those West Africans always said these were strangers among us. Okay, then I'm going to tell you where these people came from. These people have a history that goes back 1200 years back into time. And they ended up somewhere in Portugal, Spain. And before Portugal, Spain, they came from Babylon, the place called Babylon, somewhere there in the Middle East or whatever. You know, that's the research that the Hebrew Israelites did. Those people on those ships were not Africans, so we are not Africans.
I'll bring it home even more. There was no such thing as Africa 400 or 500 years ago. There was no such thing as Nigeria 400 or 500. Ghana,
Exactly.
Sierra Leone, those all became countries in 1960. We are older than them. They cannot be the motherland if we're older than them. And what he's talking about, that the people, especially the ones that got shipped to the United States, they didn't have any piercings. They didn't have any elongated bones or jaws or earrings or bones in their nose. Americans didn't like that. They didn't want those ones. You know what they did with those? They shipped those to the Caribbeans and to the South America. The ones that came to the United States, this I can tell you for sure. They were most likely Hebrew Israelites. Most likely.
They were.
Those were the only ones that wasn't practicing piercings and tattoos and all that stuff. And they were enemies to everybody because they were they were considered foreigners in Africa on that land. And those were the ones that the Yoruba, the Igbos, and all. And those were the ones that they were kidnapping and shipping overseas for money, for mirrors, for pews, for corn, tomato. That's what they were. Trinkets. And they tell you themselves, and they're proud of it. A lot of these Africans are proud of it. The West Africans, they are proud of it. They never repented. They never said sorry. They never came to check on them because they wasn't kin to them. They're very tribal. That's why it always trips me out when they say we need to unify. We know, listen, how can we unify with tribalism? You go fix the tribalism in your country first, and then we could talk about unifying as one big Negro. But until y'all fix the tribalism, leave foundational Black Americans alone, because we're already unified and we're getting back to where we used to be in the 60s and
Yes.
70s. It's just that everybody doesn't know about it because they're not plugged into the grassroots media. We got to stop listening to the Roland Martins. All they're doing is race baiting. That's all they're really doing. They're feeding to the systemic racism and to the power structures because they're getting paid. You're the only one not in on it. They're in on it.
Oh, too much. Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Roland Martin is also not an example for us. I mean, a positive example for us from the Caribbean, because he speaks like a Caribbean person. He has a lot of Caribbeans in his panel trying to undermine our brothers and sisters in the United States. Those people we should not delete, but we shouldn't be listening to those people because they cause a lot of harm in the United States, and not to forget to us from the Caribbean and the north side of South America, my country, Suriname. That's a Guyana also, and British Guyana. I want nothing to do with the people who are in Roland Martin, his panel, because these people are Pan-Africans, and they only gave us symbols, and we can't do anything with symbols. They gave us holidays for Black people, or however you want to call it. We can't do anything with that. I love it to speak about the history, but these people are only for symbols and filling up their own pockets.
Right.
I want nothing to do with these people.
Right. So let me say this, because I know everybody got Boulets and Greeks in their family. They pledged this fraternity, they pledged this sorority, and I know it seems like it's all good, Black Greeks, blah, 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 blah. But we've come to find out, and we've come to understand and know, and I got them in my family, we've come to understand and know that they are the ones selling us out.
Yes.
That's why when Kamala Harris was running, they never wanted to challenge her lineage, did they? They said, oh, she's a sister girl. She's just like us. And they know she wasn't. They know she's not Black. But they allowed everybody to go along with it because she was AKA, and that's what you understand? They want you to have another allegiance outside of Black. They don't want you to be attached to the Black community, the lineage. They want you to be attached to the fraternity.
Multicultural.
So they want you to be all immigrants is good. They want you to be on that train, even if it's a detrimental to you. You got Jasmine Crockett saying things like immigrants built this country. We don't want to be no farmers. That's a lie. We don't want to get paid like y'all paying these immigrants, because we're not immigrants in our own freaking country. If you pay us correctly, you dang right we gonna pick some berries. Oh yeah, you dang right we're gonna till the land. Yeah, we got Black farmers right now who are fighting for everything they got because their farms are being sabotaged. Oh yes, we do want to be farmers. Oh yeah, give us the land and we'll show you how we'll turn the farmers real quick. But you got people like Jasmine Crockett out here just shilling it up, selling us out. See, look at our Black celebrities. You ever wonder why they don't really help the Black community? Because they're not getting paid by the Black community. They're getting paid by the dominant society. And I say this all the time. I do not want to be rich if my people don't make me rich. Because if the dominant society makes me rich, guess what they can do? When I start trying to help my people, they can cut my flow off and cut me off and stop it all. They can shut my bank accounts down. They can shut my corporations down. They can do whatever they want to me, because guess what? They're the ones funding me. I want to be at a level where I can't be canceled. And the only way I can't be canceled is if my people support me. We have the power to make millionaires tomorrow. We got the power to create our own millionaires within our own community without even looking at the dominant society for help. We control $1.9 trillion. If we just rerouted that money back to our people.
Too much. One moment. People in this live, please tap the screen. Share the live with your friends and family at least 10 times. Let's get this up to 10,000 likes. It should have been 20,000, but let's go to 10,000. Share this live.
Listen, I go to other people's lives and they be dancing and they be talking about nothing, and y'all got them at 100,000 likes, 100,000 likes on their live.
We gotta get them likes up, man. I pushed it past 10,000.
Keep tapping the screen.
We gotta keep going, man. We gotta keep. You can listen and tap. You can talk and tap. Let's keep going. Get these likes up.
Y'all the real game.
This is a great panel, man.
Tap the screen.
This is a great panel. Tap the screens.
I give y'all the real
Let's
game.
get it up there.
Man. I don't have no Cash App on my anywhere on my profile. Just get the likes up. The likes are free.
Right.
Share the live. Get the truth out there. They try to shadow, but listen, y'all looking at my room, but let me tell you the truth. My room is supposed to have 200 to 400 people in it. When I first started this thing, before they shadow banned me, oh man, my room was popping.
Yeah, what happened actually?
I started getting bananas. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to start and build it back up again. But the truth is the truth. I can't worry about the tether class and the people who come in to undermine.
Too much. We're going to 10,000. Look at that. People tap the screen. This is a very good account. Too much is a good guy. He's a brother. He's spreading knowledge. Tap the screen and share this live with your friends and family.
So that's what happened to me. I got Matrix attacked. The Matrix came after me and tried to slow me down. And that's okay. I'm not worried about it because I'm still going to speak the truth. The message is still going to get out. Other people who started on my live have begun to start their own lives and they're growing. That's the truth is going forth. That's all that I care about. That's all that I care about. The truth is going forth. We got a couple of quick announcements. We got our own cryptocurrency. You see why I'm always talking about blockchain technology, because I believe in it. And I created this is not a meme coin. It's a utility token. If you want to know about it, go to FBA coin, COIN, FBACOIN.org and learn about the cryptocurrency that's going to change the game for foundational Black American and its communities. What if we have a decentralized bank where we no longer have to beg YT for money? We have our own bank that take care of our own people. You get microloans from this bank. You get startup capital from this bank. You get emergency relief fund from this bank. So that means if any national disaster happens, we're going to be first on the scene to help you out. Not FEMA, which is gone, not the government, not the mayor, but us. We're going to help our own. And then the biggest thing is lobbying efforts. What if we're able to put together a lobbying force in the next 4 years where we can show up at the table without begging, without pointing the finger, but show up with the briefcases in hand to get the deal done? So what if we could be able to run our own candidates from the grassroots and not depend on these sellouts that we have in our midst, right? But run our own people from the grassroots, fully fund them, fully protect them, and put them into strategic spots and say, hey man, we need you stopping for reparations, and we got some lineage-based policies we want you to push. Now we know that's not all, because we also got to go across the table and talk to the YT man, the Asian man, the whoever else is in the political arena there with us, and we need to buy a few of those people too to convince their people why they need to give us reparations. We need to put that on their hearts and their mind. And we got to show up with the briefcases, though, because that's how politics is done. Don't believe that we're in this meritocracy and people are just going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. No. People don't do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. They do the right thing when it's in their best interest. And if we show up with the briefcases, it's going to be in their best interest. So we have an FBA coin right now. That's phenomenal. And y'all need to go check it out and do your due diligence. I'm never going to ask you to throw money just to throw money at something. I'm telling you, always do your due diligence, follow your logic. If you don't know about something, take the actual time out to go learn about it.
Yes.
Get your full understanding about it. And then once you get to the full understanding about it and everything makes sense, invest in your people. Because that's what the coin is there for. The coin is there to build generational wealth for us. And nobody can take it from it. They can't. If we started a Freedmen's Bank tomorrow and it's still under the conventional banking system, guess what can happen? We put our money in the Freedmen's Bank, and what did they do last time to us? They took it from us. They took your kids' savings and they took your savings. And that's part of the reasons why, if you talk to some of our old heads out there, they don't trust the bank because they remember when they had a Freedmen's Bank and they put their children's savings in that bank and they took it.
Wow.
That's why black people don't trust the bank, because we remember when we had a bank and they took our money. But if we have a decentralized bank, they can't touch our money.
Decentralized. Can you explain that? Can you explain that? Decentralized.
A decentralized bank is a cryptocurrency that's on the blockchain. A blockchain is a decentralized ledger. If you know what a ledger keeps track and keeps record of everything. So and it's fully transparent. So you get to see what's going on. You can't hide it. It's there. We may not know what name that wallet is attached to or that bank account attached to, but we know money went from this bank or from this account to this account to this account to this account, and we can track it. And that's good enough for us. Whoever owns those accounts, that's what we know. We don't know the name, but we know somebody owns those accounts, and we know that currency was transferred from here to here to here to here to here to here. Everything is out in the open. Everything is fully documented, and once it's done, it can't be undone. Nobody can. The only way somebody can take your money is if they know your passcode or they know your 12-letter word thingamajig, passkey, your passkey or your passphrase. If they know those two things, they can take your money. But as long as they don't, you keep those things well hidden and put it in a safe somewhere and have it documented in your mind, they can't touch it. Nobody can cut your flow of money off. You can exchange freely in the free market. Cryptocurrency is the true free market. There is no such thing as a free market. They try and tell you, oh, we got a free market. No, that's a lie. It's it's centralized. The powerful families that own these banks really control that money. So they tell you it's a free market. It's not really a free market. But that's what they tell you. But if you put it on the crypto side, that's a free market. That's a free market. And so that's all I'm saying. We went from analog to digital, and now the future is blockchain technology. Did y'all realize, real quick, did y'all realize that the oligarchs changed? Did y'all realize we have the changing of the guards right before our eyes, where the gas, oil, and all those people, they're about to phase out. And the new oligarchs are in what? Technology, tech. It's called Elon Musk. It's called Sam Altman. It's called all these tech oligarchs. are now in power and running the country, if you want to be honest. It's no longer the old steel, gas, oil. Those guys are phasing out. They're still around, but the ones who make more money than them are the technocrats. So understand what's happening. The technocrats, and they're meant. And listen, you thought the gas and oil guys were bad. The technocrats saying, we just made you obsolete with AI. That's what the technocrats saying. We no longer have to worry about controlling the people. We're just going to control this technology, and the people get the people addicted to the technology, and we're going to control the whole dang globe. So if we don't get our foot into something first, and blockchain technology is the easiest thing for Black Americans to really get their foothold in early, and it's still early enough, we could dominate. And remember, anything we touch turns to gold. If we touch music and entertainment, you saw what we did with that. If we touch science and technology, you saw what we're doing and what we've been doing, and that the many inventions that we already contributed to the world. Whatever game they allow us into, and we put our heart and soul into it, we dominate. So we might as well start thinking about dominating in the blockchain technology arena, because that's the next wave.
Can I say something about that too much?
Go ahead.
Look, I'm not familiar with blockchain or coins. I was also in ICT back in the days, not anymore, but I have to put my mind on it sometime so that I can educate myself again about the technology. But I do believe in the coin itself. It's only complex because you download something, then you have to download something else to make it work. So for the normal people, it's a complex thing. But what I would like to tell the people is to go to YouTube, try to educate yourself in the coin market.
And it's not really that hard as you want to think it is. Let me tell you something. Blockchain technology is not really that difficult to understand. I know it seems like it, but it really isn't. If you really just sit there and give like 5-10 minutes of your time and
Really, 5 minutes?
researching this stuff, and start looking, do it once, twice a week, 3 times a week, every day if you can. Just try to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day researching and figuring out what the blockchain is. It'll start to click. It's really not that difficult as people think it is. If it just sounds difficult because of technology, but if you understand what a ledger is, you can understand blockchain. And then just take the ledger from centralized and think decentralized, from closed market to a true open market. That's how you gotta look at it. Just simple. And there's things on YouTube that you can look at. And don't worry. Just give me some time. I've been busy, but I'm gonna put some videos up on the website that's gonna help you guys too. I'm working on a video right now to help people out when they get their Bitcoin, their crypto wallets. Whether you go through Coinbase, whether you go through crypto.com, whether you go through MetaMask, I'm gonna help you guys get your wallets, make it easy. I'm gonna put a video together. I might just take a video from YouTube and just pop it right on the website. Find
do that.
Opener, beginner level video and just pop it right there on the website, so y'all go to it and just start doing that. And then I might just start doing little classes here and there. In one of these lives, maybe I dedicate a day out of the week where we just talk about, where I educate people on crypto. So you don't
too much. You know that I'm building my account also, not this one, but another account. I'm trying to do some lives these days. It looks like they tried to ban that account, but I have a few other accounts. You can find them on my account's bio. But what I wanted to say to you is that while I'm building it, and it's at a level that you can say it's respectable, I would like you to come explain about the coin that you are promoting right now.
Sure, no problem.
Because you're specialized in technology. I'm more looking at the possibilities to set our people free, to unite, to become that economical power of more than 100 million people from the Americas itself. We are not Africans. Once again, nothing against the Africans, but we are not Africans. I don't have time to discuss this nonsense. And we are not also in that multicultural thing. Those days are over. It ended at 31st of December 2024. We live in 2025, and the next 1,000 years belongs to us. That's how I see it, and that's how it's written also.
I agree.
So,
Listen, the blueprint, and let me tell you something. This coin is that unique. It's going to be the blueprint. There's going to be somebody else who's going to try to do another coin that's very, very, because the way I designed the coin is phenomenal. Okay. There are going to be people who are going to try to duplicate this coin and make it very, very similar to what I've already done. We are the first ones to create a coin like this, by the way. The very first one, Foundational Black Americans. We are the first ones to create a coin like this. And believe me when I tell you, it's going to be duplicated, or at least tried. Countries, other ethnic groups are going to get on this, and they're going to say, you know what, we need one for our people. And it's designed, here's the catch, it's designed to keep money in the Black community, not let money out. So whether you hold it or whether you keep it, it stays within the community and builds value and builds up our treasury fund that we can use. And listen, when I talk about microloans, I'm not talking about charging interest. I'm talking about maybe charging 0 to 1% interest rates for our people. This is for our lineage. We're not here to be like the banks and make all this money off our people and push them in debt. We're not supposed to put our people in debt. We're not supposed to do that. So when we lend you some money, all we want you to do is give that money back. And if we add any interest to it, 1 or 2%, that's it. Because we're not here to put our people in bondage or in chains. We're here to free our people and catch up and get that generational wealth.
Well, to invest in our people, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, we're just here to, I mean, listen, this is 100% lineage based. It's unselfish. We're going to have a DAO governance. So it's not just me that's going to be running this coin. We're looking for 8 to 10 key people that's going to help us govern this fund. And they're going to operate kind of like a think tank. And they're going to decide, hey, when we need to run candidates, when we need to send emergency relief, when we need to do a community project and build something, we need to listen. We need to have our own Hollywood, because again, we know that indoctrination that comes from Hollywood. Okay, it's all a psyop. It's all of it. That's where Hollywood and psyop are the same thing. So if you're watching television, that's the psyop right there. That's what's happening. If you wonder why you know, I'll tell you like this. I can tell that you've been watching television and mainstream media just by the way you talk. I can tell. I don't watch those things because I don't want to be psyoped. I don't want to be under no witchcraft or anything like that. I let all that go. But if I am gonna start doing something, I'd rather have it come from us, because at least if we're gonna indoctrinate our people, we're gonna indoctrinate our people with the truth, not the lie. See, my dad tried to tell me a long time ago that we had a black president before Obama, and you know what I did? I laughed at him. And that's my dad. I love him. My dad's a man of character, high integrity. He has no reason to lie. But I thought my dad just read a book and didn't know what he was talking about. But then when you come to find out through research that, man, before there was the United States of America, there was something called the Iroquois Nation. And they had a government and a body which is, did y'all know it was similar to what we have in our Constitution? So we think these YT people just were genius and invented this Constitution. Well, you know where they got it from? The Iroquois Nation. Iroquois Nation.
You know what I find very amazing? These people, okay, it looks like they have been planning for hundreds of years to erase us. But the thing with them is that they plan 30 years in the future. The shortest time is 10 years in the future.
So I
And
say it like this.
that's what's missing with us. We have to do the same also to keep continuing. We have to adopt also new information, of course, but we should have a program that will make sure that over 10 years our people will be all right, and over 30 years our people will be all right. That's what the mindset should be. So much I have to go
Here's
because
what people do.
it's
Here's what people do. We plan for, we say New Year's, you know, what they call it, New Year's something, what do they call it? My New Year's resolution. So we plan yearly as people. We say, okay, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm going to change this, change that, blah, 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 blah. But corporations, you know how they plan? They plan 10, 15, 25, 30 years into the future. But do you know how governments plan? Government plans every 100 years.
okay.
That's why we're behind. Because corporations, they plan 10, 20, 30, 40, some of them even 50 years out. But governments, they plan every 100 years out. So you got to understand, they got all this technology and they have a plan on when they want to release it all out in phases. And they try to release it in the way that people can understand it and grasp it so they don't shock and they don't kill off industries. Because these governments, believe it, whether you want to believe it or not, are ran by these corporations. And these corporations don't want to go out of business. They want to stay in business and continue to make money. So the government checks in with these corporations to make sure they're still eating. And then when they want to phase the industry out, they make sure that this one person who runs that, or family that runs this industry, makes a whole bunch of money, and they usually switch into another industry and then put everybody behind that. Did y'all know that?
One last thing that I wanted to say before I go, because I'm gonna go. It's early over here, 7:38 a.m. You guys in the United States, for all of us in the Caribbean and South America, and many of us in Europe, you are the blueprint. We don't have to reinvent something else. You are the blueprint.
That's
You have
true.
proven yourself. You have given the world your culture. Everybody have been enjoying it. They try to replace it with some kind of African thing for us. That ain't gonna happen. We are Americans. I'm a South American. You're a North American. We have Caribbean. We have Central America. You guys in North America are the blueprint, and it's going to stay that way. Let that be clear to everyone who's here, who think that they can replace us with some African identity. It ain't gonna happen. Hey, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you too much for letting me in your life. When my account is cool, then I will call you up to come explain it to the people, because the people over here, oh my God, it's difficult. But I will keep going on, try to teach them the truth, and they will accept the truth. Hey, thank you very much. I wish you all a good day.
Appreciate it. Thank you, King. Yeah, man, listen. The first thing starts, we got to get on code, and we just got to understand. See, once we're all on code, we can move better. Once we start having our own platforms, we can talk more freely. Aren't you tired of talking TikTok friendly? Aren't you tired of not being able to say what you really want to say in fear of that you're going to get bananaed? I know I'm tired. Aren't you tired of every time you talk, you got somebody trying to infiltrate your platform and learn your business and go back and run back and tell massa? I know I'm tired. So we have a unique opportunity, whether you like Donald J. Trump or not. Donald J. Trump is running his ship, and the way he's running his ship, nobody's focusing on Black Americans. We need to use that time to build ourselves up as a community, as a people, and to become stronger right up under their noses. That's what we got to do. Hold on, brother. You got it. Yeah, I know you listen to that. I know you listen to that music over there. But we gotta use this time to grow and get big and get on code with each other so we can start doing great things. Reparations is coming. It's coming. It's inevitable. As long as we keep this surplus in our treasury going, they're not gonna have any more excuses not to do what we want them to do. We're gonna come correct, and we're gonna demand what's owed to us, because not just because it's the right thing to do, but because we're gonna lobby for it. We're gonna put together the strategies. We're gonna bring people over to our side and convince them why it's beneficial for them to give us what we want. You listen. Without Black Americans in this country wouldn't be where it's at. It wouldn't be where it's at. And we're gonna show you, and we're gonna make you feel that pain if you don't give us what we want. And I don't mean, we're not talking about WAR and physicality. We're talking about the real game. Y'all got psyops, well, we're gonna do a psyop, and we're gonna show you that we mean business. We're gonna extract our dollars out of your corporations and then see what happens. Go ahead, Monique. I see your hand.
Hey, everybody. Oh, getting a little sleepy, so I was like, let me come say what I came up here to say. And exactly what you were just saying is there's so many groups and communities and things that are forming around just that. So, like, it's buying land and, feeding ourselves off our own land. There's there's communities that are teaching people how to do that. Like, you can go to their land and they'll show you. There's classes that they offer how to make bread and mill your own grains and make flour, stuff like that. And that group is called Collectively Sustainable.
Okay.
Collectively Sustainable. They have a page on here. It's 24/7. Farm Fresh 24/7. They go live every Friday morning. The brother probably is FBA, but he's like right now it's just about.
He is or he isn't. He is or he
I'm
isn't.
not sure. I believe he is. I believe he is. That is not something he like really dwells on. So I'm not sure. But right now, the movement is to get people just to be self-sustainable or collectively sustainable with the community. So you go get the information and bring it home. You know how we do. So that offer, there's that, and then there's a whole nother group. I missed the Zoom meeting today, but there's a whole nother group on here of FDAs. A lot of them. A lot of them. So I can actually, they're talking up on an actual meet and greet type situation, and then there's like 40 acres that's showing you how to buy land for the dirt, like not for the dirt, for very cheaply. So I just came up to offer those things. Like, we don't want to reinvent the wheel,
Right. Right.
But we can.
But here's the thing: we're not going to allow ourselves to be infiltrated, and it has to be an FBA initiative. It can't be an FBA and everybody else, because we saw what happened to Black Project 2025. They allowed it to be all melanated people up in there, and and just as quick as they raised that money, the sister was on there crying because it got torn apart from the inside because you got too many different tribes up in there trying to push for their tribe.
Right.
And we can't have that. We're one tribe. We know us. And we got enough infighting within us too. Right?
Exactly.
We don't need to invite other people into our infighting. We need to handle our infighting behind those closed doors like we supposed to, and then call a shot and move forward. So we cannot allow ourselves to be infiltrated. We cannot allow ourselves to think that, hey, we got to work with everybody. No. We work with our people only, and we don't need that. And be honest, we don't need everybody. We don't need the knuckleheads. We can do without the knuckle. We just if you're that stubborn, go start your own.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, but we're gonna work with the ones that want to work and want to make things happen. That's the ones we're going. I'm really appealing to our middle class and our wealthy and our rich. Listen, this ain't about this ain't about everybody else. We need our middle class and our rich to come together and do something for the lineage. This is not the time for you to be selfish and build your own enclave and sit on your high mountain by yourself. We all got the same enemy and frenemy.
Exactly.
Let's get on code. The code is the leader. That's all we need to know, and that's all we should know. The code is the leader. We don't have a physical leader, but we do have a code, and we follow the code and we follow the motion. Whoever has the ball, we put up a brigade in front and behind and make sure that ball crosses the finish line every single time. If we operate and move like that, it can't stop us. But if we start working with everybody and doing this and that, they're gonna pull us in too many different directions, and we're not gonna accomplish anything. We got to stay focused. That's why putting together our think tank in 2025 is so important.
Yeah.
So important. If anything we need to focus on right now, we need to focus on the think tank. Who's going to be a part of the think tank? Who is going to be a part of the think tank and help us get from A to Z? The quicker we figure out who that is, the quicker we can start solving our problems.
Great.
So yeah, that's why I think it's so important to network, to be present in these, in these other networking and groups, and find out, who's doing what and who's doing it at the top level.
I want to get with some of these 40 acres and a mule cats. I want. I know that they're trying
That absolutely has to be, like FBA. You know what I mean? Because nobody's outside of that's gonna say that, right?
So I get 40 acres and a mule. I mean, I would hope they're FBA, but that doesn't mean they have to be, because a lot of times people latch on to us and they start believing they're us, and then we have to explain to them that you're not us.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of that, but 40 acres and a mule. I seen those cats before on TikTok. If you have any other information, if you could send it to me in the back channels, I appreciate it. I want to actually get a hold of. I think there's two brothers on there. There's a dark skinned brother and a copper colored light skinned sharp. Both of them are sharp brothers. I want to get with them because they already, I already completed what they're trying to do.
Right.
Because they're trying to come out with the coin, the 40 acre and a mule coin. I already completed what they're trying to do, and their coin is just going to be a meme coin. And meme coin is old news. Meme coins are out of. Listen, the only way a meme coin works is if you're a celebrity like a Kanye or a Donald Trump or Elon Musk, and your name is the recognition that gives that coin value, or Akon.
Mm-hmm.
But a meme coin doesn't do anything. It does absolutely nothing. But a utility token, that's what we want. We want a coin that has smart contracts built in to carry out the action that we need to carry out. Not just a meme coin that says, I'm a celebrity, invest in my coin.
Yeah, I think the group is, I mean, I think the page is just 40 acres on here on TikTok.
40 acres, okay.
Just 40 acres. And then the other one is United for the Progress of Black People. They're FBA.
Okay, I'll check them out. I'm gonna do my due diligence. I'm gonna check them out. You know, I just don't join anything like
Right.
I sat behind when Black Project 2025 because I had a feeling it was democratic. I just had a feeling it was Democratic Shields. I just had a feeling it was a Democratic initiative, and I happened to be right. So I'm gonna do my due diligence, find out what I need to find out. Once my gut and my mind tell me this is the right thing to do, my heart's gonna follow. I'm gonna make we're gonna make it happen. But we got to connect with our brothers and our sisters, and we got to do it. We have a unique moment in time. We don't want to miss it. I will say our ancestors, and especially in the 50s and the 60s, they brought us to where they thought we needed to go, and then they dropped the ball because they got comfortable. We can't make that same mistake. We got to keep our foot on the enemy's neck at all times, and we have to
learn from our mistakes.
Yes, we have to protect what we unalive. I always say like that. We got to protect what we unalive. We can take this head of the snake off, but there's about 7 more that's gonna come up, and we got to systematically and in sync take them out one at a time instead of just take one out and then celebrate and think we're done. No. This snake got 7 heads.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, brother, Too Smooth. I gotta go have court in the morning, 2 courts tomorrow, so I gotta go represent the people. So
all right, man, go do that.
thanks for letting me come up, and hope to see you back probably by Friday.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right,
appreciate
you guys have a good night. Take care.
Thank you. So yeah, there's some a lot of people that I see that could be connected at some point and network with, but where you start from where you are, and I just know because we just spoke of that thing, spoke of land ownership and start. Those are just some of the ones I thought of. So I mean, I just want to offer that, and I'm probably going to be passing out here to sleep pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end the live early today. Normally, man, I'll do the little powwow, and we'll go to I'm on the West Coast, so it's like about 11 p.m. here. So I usually go to 1, 2, 3. But
I know those nights that I've said sometimes I sit in the night because I can't sleep myself. So yeah, I don't always come up.
Yeah, it's almost 2 where I am.
No, it's only going on 1, but for some reason. But yeah, yeah. I mean, networking is my thing. So that's if I get information, I've tried to invite you to some of the lives I see.
Keep inviting me. I may miss them because
I can't never find your page.
Just type
whenever
let me do this.
Just friend him and he'll show up on your stuff, baby.
No,
I'm following him.
I just followed you back. So
Okay.
maybe that'll make it easier. I just followed you back.
Yeah, when I get on it, I invite you because connections are so very important to me.
Connect me, man. I need, especially with the 40 acres and a mule. I need to, these cats are doing something that I've already did, and like you said, ain't no reason for them to reinvent the wheel. I already did the coin.
No, he's showing people how to buy land and build family farms and stuff.
But they're doing a coin too. I know they're
okay.
They're doing a coin too. They're doing a coin too.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take them away from. I mean, I know what they're going to do. They're going to do a meme coin, but it is what it is. But
yeah. I have seen some other people doing coins, but I don't.
Meme coin, man. It's just, man. If you don't got no smart contracts attached to those coins, it's not going to do anything. It's just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is nothing more than a glorified meme coin, and the only reason why it's so popular is because it was the first. Never the first is always going to be the most popular. That's why you got Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are the 2 biggest because they were the first.
Okay, yeah.
He who's first gets all the money.
That's it.
They win the race every time.
That's it. That's it. And they have that mining mechanism that keeps everybody going, because you can actually get free. You don't actually have to buy Bitcoin. You can actually mine Bitcoin. That's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. You can earn Bitcoin by mining, which gives it value because you're putting in a work. You're putting in a proof of work. There's two types. There's proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of work is mining. You do a task and you get a reward. Proof of stake says, okay, you back it up by a liquidity pool. So I'll give you X amount of coins, and it's going to be attached to this $500 million liquidity pool. So that's what's going to give your coins value. So those are the two ways that you can get value in cryptocurrency. It's proof of work or proof of stake. Those are only two ways.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Our coin is backed by proof of stake, the FBA coin, because we're building a liquidity pool, and that's going to give the coin currency, give the coin its worth. And then once our people start adopting it and we start burning some coins, we have a burn mechanism built in that takes some coins off the shelf, it's going to start rising the value up higher.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. But yeah, man, anybody, Cameron, you got anything to say, man? We're gonna go ahead and shut it down, and I'm gonna let Cousin close us out. Cameron, you there? Okay, Cousin, just go ahead and close us out, brother.
Well, once again, I will just go on and remind the family to check out the new Black media. Professor Black Truth, The Black Authority, Tariq Nasheed, Vicky Dillard, Lisa Cabrera, Afro Elite.
Yes.
These brothers and sisters are standing on business and making sure that YT supremacy has their feet in the fire. Because we're not taking this. It's a wrap. So just remember, family, be part of the B1 Brigade. Each one reach one, each one teach one. I landed that, brother.
All right.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, love, and reparation. Oh, my people.
Exactly.
See y'all.
All right, y'all take care now.
Tomorrow.
Rising.
All right, Grand Rising. Peace out.